FNATIC versus PRX, and the maps are coming through now, so let's see where we end up going. Mimi, first up, we have FNATIC's ban.
I am looking more towards what PRX is going to give him, because I was expecting the Breeze. I feel like that's a pretty standard one for FNATIC to get rid of, but does PRX want to go to Bind or to Icebox? That's the biggest question, and they decide to get rid of Icebox. When you're playing FNATIC, you really have to contend with one of those two maps. They're both incredibly large strongholds for FNATIC, but they don't select the Bind. Instead, they go into the Ascent.
That's really interesting. I mean, FNATIC, in terms of the last time they played it, I believe it was against FPX with their Ascent gameplay. But PRX looked phenomenal on Ascent as well. Yeah. I think this is a map that would work out either way, and we get to see the Bind as well. FNATIC, I think, are one of the best Bind teams in the world. They have so many different looks at this one, and PRX actually have two different looks that they bring out. They either bring out the Eurocomp, or they bring out the more, I believe it's the Raise Focus map.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So you are looking at, honestly, the first two maps, I think are just going to be incredible. I was about to say Gigabanger, but I think you've killed it. You've killed the term.
GB. Come on, man.
Killed the term. This is a Yotta banger. I'm coining this one. It's a Yotta banger. And Fracture and Split goes, which means the decider we actually get to see Haven as well. And that is a bit of an unknown quantity, honestly. It's a map where Jing likes to play Reyna. He likes to just int it down. FNATIC are also a pretty good map, pretty good when it comes to this map. And in terms of the meta, they don't play much Fade on it. They play a lot of the Sova and the Breach. They lean into sort of the old meta on it. But I think this entire map pool is setting us up for a bit of a banger series.
Yeah, I mean, we do not see that map number 3 a ton from PRX, so I'm not sure what to expect. Obviously, like you said, they run the Reyna, but I think that's just they're the best team in their region, and they can afford to have a little bit more fun. What I'm really looking forward to is that Bind, because the Eurocomp, the way that PRX play that is incredible. Yeah. And it's really quite tough to play against. Obviously, we saw just the other day FPX's Euro getting pretty decimated, but I think it's a lot better implemented on this map and by this squad.
Oh, man. I'm just even more excited.
You're so giddy.
I'm so pumped.
How much caffeine have you had?
Not a lot, okay? I just, I just enjoyed myself one quality Red Bull, and I'm ready to go. And I swear, that was not an ad. Anyway, guys, make sure you stick around, hang out with us. You know you want to, because when we come back, we're going to bring the players out, meet the players, get the agent select going, and all that good stuff after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
We're cutting you off from the Red Bull.
Gaming agent select, let's see what we're going to play. But it is just going to be weird, like 2 players on stage. 3 of your teammates just going to be in voice comms.
Yes, it's a bit more of a strange dynamic, but honestly, if you just picture yourself playing online, maybe it'll make PRX better. I don't know, maybe they can pretend. But let's take a look at the agent slate, because this is what I'm interested in. PRX are going to be playing similar comp to what they did before, but there is a switch up. Alfie is going to be playing the Sage, and I think this makes a ton of sense with the way that PRX love to play Ascent. As a map, Forsaken is one that takes a lot of liberties with lurks. The Sage wall, if it doesn't get broken in time, it impedes that. It stops him from doing so.
It forced that pace to be slowed on down, and for Jing as well, so often these executes are predicated on him double satcheling in. A well-timed slow can separate him off from his team. You isolate Jing, you kill him, then you have a way easier round. I think it's a great pivot for FNATIC. I think it's still an agent where Alpha can find a lot of value as well.
All right, well, with that said, it is now time to send it over to our casters. It's the always ridiculous and 2 of my favorite EMEA casters, Mitchman and Tom. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Golden
British?
Boy.
No British?
No.
He normally says
the
British
half-British duo, of course.
Why didn't he say British?
Golden Boy's learned. He's learned his lesson. Well, Tom, diving into this one, Alpha, first time we're getting to see the Sage on this roster, but of course, other than that, we're going pretty much to the regular system. I'm really excited to see what's going on.
That's the thing. FNATIC always lose to FPX on this map. It's happened a couple of times. So what they've done is they've looked at FPX's comp and they've gone, that comp looks pretty cool.
It does.
I'm going to take that and I'm going to have Althea play that agent instead. And you know what?
Should work.
I don't mind it. It's a nice switch. I think it's one that he can still pop off on, and wow, we are right into the pistol pitch.
You were saying earlier, we've already seen him play this agent in the past, right? Just not on this roster, so certainly no questions of comfort ground on the agent itself. Starting out, this is a risk to knife that wall. Of course, you can dive right from the top of on top of the wall and cause some trouble. They managed to tear it open. PRX continuing on with the aggression, obviously with the anchor, allowing that TP back out of Forsaken, but he has suffered quite a bit of damage on that initial fight.
That's the thing, though. You delay that explosive nature of PRX, and then you have to see what the call's going to be. Now, I will say last time they played, Benkai was excellent at pulling in those rotations, but they've got the information that there are still players deep within B, and you can see that there are already 3 players set up here for FNATIC.
Yeah, they might have heard 3 players shoot at that. They're certainly about to face the contact with 4 about to burst out of the smoke. Alpha closes out that door, but he's being revealed, he's being blinded. Still decent damage. Boaster tries to follow up and actually gets out for free. 2 kills and they reset completely. Bankai has to find value on this flank, but the players, they're not obliging. They're going back. They fake the steps all the way, actually. It seems they have an idea he could be close, and they're being very vigilant about checking it.
I thought for a split second they were just going to run straight past. I was like, no, please. After doing so well in this early engagement, already the rotation has come through, though. And this might be an expectation of a much cleaner sight. Even still, though, the initial awareness dissipates. Bankai runs out of bullets. And while Durka was still here all along, leaving Forsaken to try and clutch this one. Oh! He's right in front of him! But even that has bought enough time. FNATIC will take the pistol. Well, a little bit wild at the end, but I don't think they'll mind too much.
Yeah, I do like the idea. Obviously, the initial fights went massively in favor of FNATIC, and that double kill just stalls them out so much on the PRX side. But I do like that Bankai tucked in and waited for the contact on short. It's when those players are running up and making all that noise that Bankai slips his way into spawn. And that was the exact second that Mystic had come back, because FNATIC did a really good job of establishing new front lines. They had a player on B, one in spawn, and then obviously the 2 players towards the A site that were resetting to control the map. But once short was under threat, they had to leave that spawn open. That little gap exploited, and we're already seeing that level of play in the pistols, which should be fun as we go on through. But this one here, Tom, you know, not too much to write home about on the PRX side. Maybe this Headhunter can get something.
Yeah, something to mention as well is they're already going for the same aggressive utility usage that we've seen from them. So a lot of the time you're going to have this Seize combo alongside a Gravity Well and then the Paint Shell thrown in as well. This tries to deny that early aggression, which we just saw from Durka. It didn't, because he managed to run past it before it actually got used, but I guess they killed him off anyway.
It's interesting to see that used up in this round as well, where you don't really have that much to work with, but I suppose just lighten up that player if they do get caught could be worthwhile. Only the one to be lost so far, it is Durka, and no one else will lose their life. So, all things considered, a decent round. Alpha, unfortunately, not going to be able to get his hands on anything better than the Frenzy. But, yeah, 2-0. Nicely done by FNATIC. They avoid any of the pitfalls we've seen many teams suffer at the hands of. Those weaker weapons can do a hell of a lot of damage. And coming into this third, they have got some decent abilities to fight. The Headhunter on Durka, the obviously Vandal on Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha bought that just now. He had a Frenzy in the last round, so basically just saved some of that extra cash ready for this round. But this is where things get a lot tougher for FNATIC. You've got PRX investing in with the rifles. We see them quite regularly get quite aggressive over onto this A-long spot. It's somewhere I think Jing might be one of the best entries in the world at just getting into that A site.
How did that not see Durka? Okay, well, they've taken him down anyways. That Prowler went straight past him. The angle must have been just right, but I'm sure he's surprised to still be caught off on that fight on short. Good connection by Forsaken. That's the Vandal gone, and now Enzo, who was supposed to be the bait for the player up close, is having to retreat to the site. That was dodging bullet. It wasn't close, it was on. He's 5 HP now.
Oh, that's the B site completely fallen. You've got a lurk in mid as well if there's any rotation through there, and Mystic is slowly walking to what seems like his demise. A free kill for Mindfreak, and while it gives Boaster at least an opportunity, hoping he can try and clear this last man out, and there you go. It's at least 1 kill. Some cost in the bonus round, but ultimately PRX have kept this squeaky clean.
Yeah, he's managed to make it out towards short as well. I mean, a save is technically possible, but Boaster might almost just want to issue some more damage to these players. Oh, that nade close. Jing clearing every angle on the way through, but he'll still lose his life. Fantastic connection. And they probably do want to stop him from saving this weapon, but at this point, you've already lost 2. They cannot afford
well, they know where he is.
to lose another weapon. Yeah, but see, like, there's so many angles because of this smoke.
That's the thing. They have short. They'd already cleared the window, and when he threw the smoke down, they'd already heard him close the door, so it's like, he's in the smoke. There's literally nowhere else.
Yeah, if he could have gotten one more there, though, it could have been a big blow to the PRX economy.
It's still not bad. Ultimately, a couple of kills when you're in a 1 versus 5. It's more than you expect to get from that sort of position. And now there's going to be a purchase coming up for FNATIC anyway. So this is where the game really gets going. Doesn't seem like there's going to be an operator just yet for Durka, though. And that's probably the main danger on this defensive side, is once he gets that op in play, he's a true menace. For now, much more of a stand-by.
Yeah, light shields to work with. 2 away from getting the Tour de Force online. And immediately we're going to have the challenge. Durka safe down below. Has the TP out if he needs it. So that control, it's going to be kept. And I feel like PRX, that reveal might have sold them some fake information, Tom. They might think at this point that they're actually pretty clear around mid, that FNATIC don't have that information. And I think that's why they're trying to bait them out, make some noise on A, show some presence, and then hopefully catch them on this B push. But they've been caught here as well, detected, and I think this is going to have to be a reset out of PRX with that early round. A lot of this comes down to if Durka's going to be caught in mid or not. It's just so much info for FNATIC to hold for free.
Yeah, they're slowly making that rotation back towards this B side. Now, Althea is holding his wall. You kind of expect it to be a little bit deeper. Instead, though, you're going to have the showstopper from Jing. It does a lot of damage, but actually Enzo lands the shot, taking one at least. And still a couple of players are around this angle. The wall's been used to almost give them an avenue back in on the retake. But with the lurk finding Mystic, they might just rotate here.
Yeah, that got Durka pulling back out of mid as well. Forsaken fills in that information, fills in the gap. And on short, that battle going down, it has Durka fully distracted. That calls for reinforcements, and so Forsaken strikes. Beautiful execution by PRX. This early round really didn't go their way, but they have recovered so nicely on that, and it's Mind Freak to close the round with a triple.
Yeah, he's been so impressive already so far this tournament, but the thing that has been wonderful from PRX, especially in this sort of round, is there's always a lurk, even when you think the lurk has faded. So Mind Freak, the initial lurk, catches players as they rotate. Then when he's the aggressor, he's the front man, Forsaken becomes the lurk. And that's what makes this team so devastating is you're like, oh, well, everybody must have rotated because Mind Freak's now leading the charge. It's the complete opposite. They're still holding to make sure that you're caught in their trap.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. And that filling in that space for Forsaken is something we'll see many, many times out of this guy. We talked about it, his neon aggression in the earlier telly that we had. Yep, that's some early aggression out of him there. A little bit more as he takes down Enzo. Of course, only pistols that he's up against. And, well, PRX not having too much trouble.
Really clean. The aggression basically caught up almost instantly by a flash. Durka has to just almost betray his teammates. Like, sorry, Alpha, this one's on you. And yeah, again, just flawless out of PRX, leaving just Boaster, last man standing, not really able to have much impact in this round, and PRX make that one look incredibly easy.
So Durka gets out of that with a tour de force, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Coming out of that one, yeah, I'm almost surprised that there wasn't a little bit more investment. Some creds dropped over to a teammate, and actually, you almost seen why. They kept up that money for a glass cannon operator in this round. It seems Durka's bought in the background. I'm very confused as to what's going down economically here, Tom.
Yeah, I guess maybe he expected to get a kill in that round and use it as an economy boost, but I don't know why you wouldn't use it as an economy boost now. I guess they're just saving it because they go, well, why waste it in a round where the rest of us have weapons when he can win us a round where we don't?
I suppose so. I heard the tour de force popped. I'm led to believe that's Forsaken and not Durka losing his mind.
It could also be the fact that there's a null command. And it's just like, does he want to go into a position with no weaponry?
Absolutely nothing, yeah.
So it's like you're looking at the ultimates on the other side and you're going, okay, I'll play my operator so I definitely have a gun. And you know what? I like Duck having a gun as well.
Yeah, they might expect it in this round. It could be a next level play out of Durka, but he's not in the right position to find them. They've gone in towards the A side, and, well, Durka's now left in mid, op in hand, no shields. And an Odin for Enzo spraying away, finding nothing. Durka won't even get a chance to fire a bullet. This is a depressing round for FNATIC, Tom. They had their ideas with their op and their Odin, but that A side hold just did not match up.
No, and normally someone who is incredibly good on this map in particular is Mystic, but thus far kind of getting shut down, like either caught on rotations or even just in this round, just straight up entry. And a lot of the fights that FNATIC were taking there, they're risky. You're basically facing off against the full force of PRX, and well, I think one thing that PRX does maybe better than anyone, firstly getting entries, but secondly just that raw trading off the fact that their synergy is so on point. So to try and take those risks, okay, maybe it works against lesser opposition or the opposition you know, but versus PRX, it was never really going to happen.
Jing obviously feeling pretty good today. Swinging out for a couple of those early duels. Blast packing his way through the air. It was a drop shot, so to speak. FNATIC have called a timeout now. That's what the extended replays are about. These guys having a little bit of a chat on how they can remedy this. I mean, as I said, that A hold just didn't match up. their B plan. They come into this one, obviously, with the Tour de Force. You're not up against the null command, so there's a whole lot of benefit to that, but the rest of the team invested everything they had in that last round. They don't have a magical ultimate to make this easy, and that starts to make it seem like PRX could be running away with this early half.
Yeah, and bear in mind, they could be the second team to fall into the trap of PRX going, okay, I want to pick a map that I don't think they're that good on, picking into Ascent and getting slammed. Like, they played up against Guild. Guild did exactly the same thing. Like, you know what? We're going to pick Ascent. We're going to try and give this a go. 13-4.
That's exactly it. I was actually going through to just double check that. It was 13-4 against Guild. That was absolutely insane. It was the attack side, right, where PRX found the majority of the rounds in that matchup, if my brain serves me correctly. And with taking that into consideration, sure, maybe we can imagine FNATIC next half, yada, yada. But look, this is their map pick. This is somewhere that they want to be coming in and at least making it hyper-competitive to start with. But bar the pistol, they've had very little to show for their efforts in this early stage. We're going to see this buy consist of a judge. I'm interested to see. I assume Durka will use the Tour de Force. There you go. You've already used up. But again, it's towards the A side. PRX this time, though, playing much more of a default, Tom. This isn't like the last round where they blitzed into the other side, avoided Durka's off completely, and won the round in a matter of seconds. This one's going to be much, much slower. Maybe giving the opportunity for Durka to find one a little later.
Yeah, in a very aggressive position. You can actually see the early utility use from PRX as well, is expecting him to be in B main. They had a gravity wall to just try and pull him into the open. Oh, Forsaken has dodged this. I don't know if they'll expect him to be this close. Peek around the corner though, he's straight into a judge. And of course it's the classic that gets the kill from Enzo. Now trying to retrieve that extra weaponry, and Enzo has done just that, so maybe something a little extra. Devi is playing, again, this is the second time now we're seeing him play the Odin on the attack.
Oh, you can't judge him when he just blasts right past you, Jing. Huge space taking, huge damage. Enzo down low. The shield stripped from him. You can see Alpha, 67 HP. The tags healed up on some teammates at least.
FNATIC, they didn't rotate. That's the thing, they didn't rotate. After the last round where they got baited in by this switchback, they've actually left players behind. Mystic has slowed them right down. The only player still here is Devi.
30 seconds, 25. They've got to get a move on, and that slow is still there. Even more so now, Durka connecting that kill. It puts a slow field on the floor. He has a trap to cover them pushing through. They're going right back, but this site is still stacked up. Devi's been waiting patiently. Good spam, good damage. 6 seconds, though. They need a plan right now. They're already planting an Alpha. Just let them pass. He baited them in and won the round for the team. Utterly ridiculous as FNATIC take 3.
This was a perfect adaptation from FNATIC. They have been pushed and pulled with these rotations throughout, with lurks being left behind, and this time they gamble. They go, you know what? We're in a round where we have some weaker weaponry. We've still got 3 players within the site. You can have mid. You can have it, and we'll just play those extremities and wait for you to rotate back into us. Mystic's timing on that nade was perfect, and then you just have the setup of, do you want to run into Durka with a Tour de Force with 25 seconds left? The answer for any team in the world is no.
That was not optimal. I don't know, watching it back, if Alpha actually realized the player jumped past him, or if he just went, they're planting?
Where are they? Oh, hey, bud.
Guys, are they planting A? What's going on?
How you doing?
How did you get there? Just jumped right over his head.
I'm going to have to stop you doing that.
I can't let you do that, sir. Dirk has been spotted, and he doesn't know. It's his shoulder as he went back into the corner. He's going to try to make a move sometime soon.
Oh, how Forsaken is. He's just gone walking into the site alone. The danger of this man. And they've even spotted Boaster. This leaves just Alfia at the back of the site. He might have a res. He's even walled himself in. He's like, you know what? If you want to push me, you have to try and get through the tiniest corner in existence. This is such a ridiculous way to try and sit. And of course, Forsaken just walks in.
So that Prowler was breaking the wall. The wall broke. Forsaken went around the other side. I don't know if there was a gap that wasn't checked or the wall breaking drew the attention, but either way, Boaster here on 4 HP. 27 for Mystic. It's fair to say Dirk is going to have to do the heavy lifting on this one. He's at least found the first. That's Forsaken down. Suppression. Not going to have any post-plant stars or anything like that to worry about. FNATIC getting their way into the site. Benkai around the nade, but he's only able for the one. And a quick follow-up by Durka gets that diffused right on through.
Yeah, definitely a little bit close for comfort. Even though Alpha actually goes down after just a kill, I think even just his delay, I don't know if I've ever seen anyone do that with a Sage Wall. Mainly because it is slightly ridiculous. Just go, this is my boathouse. You're not coming in here. Just got my boats. I don't know. But it did buy them an extra little bit of time. The worry for me is that Forsaken is still able to do this. Like, basically just walk in. I don't think there was any utility for either kill that he got. It was just like, hey, I'm just going to try and pressure you. And he got a lot done. It was only down to that clutch and good read from Durka on the player behind that actually wins them the round.
Yeah. I mean, you saw how quickly those kills came in. That's something you're definitely not going to want to account the majority of rounds in. Prowler right away, but no worries. Durka's able to TP out, set up with Mystic, and again, that duel is found. Last round, Jing went blast packing into Wine to try and take down Durka, who just promptly TP'd out and had Mystic walk through and take the kill. Forsaken, trying to take space elsewhere, is caught by that double push out of FNATIC. And at this point, again, PRX, they stall out. 3 versus 5, no real map control. And I mean, you still have that AWP of Boaster to worry about. Didn't think I'd be saying that.
You know, we'll see. He's basically just holding the most passive angle ever. Like, that's probably the reason behind
Opping
it.
in our spawn?
Like, yeah, he's just
camping.
holding the cross.
He's actually camping.
He is.
It's one of the only times you'll actually see that. But yeah, right in their spawn. The pressure is on B, though. At least that's what it seems like, Mind Freak. He might just have thread the needle, I think he did! But Durka saves the day anyways, catching that frag, spike down on B. And Bankai, not that pressured for time, and with Enzo gone, he might even get a plant out of this! The Boaster's up in the spawn the whole round, saves the day. Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think Bankai expected to be peeking into an operator there, but even still, a nice attempt at the clutch. Again, I really like the way that I feel like Alpha is using his walls in the most passive ways humanly possible. But one of them, the wall he's putting down there, is to allow his teammates back into the site if they need to retake without being pincered in from that spawn area, from that A main area, or B main area, sorry. So, like, it's really irritating. The thing is, though, if you look at the scoreboard right now, things are kind of weird. Like, you've got everybody on 6 kills, bar Boaster for FNATIC, who's on 7, and then you've just got Mind Freak and Forsaken way ahead at the top of the board. It's like, those players on those lurks and those sneaky plays were doing really well early on. Like, even Forsaken in the last round did really well, just being able to get into the site. But I do feel like FNATIC are getting more and more aware of it. Like, even though Mind Freak managed to sneak through that smoke, they watched that smoke, ready in case he was there.
Yeah, and that's why they were able to find that trade on him. You know, he did well to find that first, but having a second man to back them up, those are the sort of things we expect from teams of this caliber that we see pretty consistently. Now you're seeing the PRX timeout come to a conclusion. Lost a couple of rounds now in a row, Tom, so resetting before things go a little bit too far. And this is a good round for it. They'll still come in with quite a lot of prospects, really. I think they can easily drop Bankai if they want to and land themselves a nice comfy buy.
Well, that's the thing, right? You've got yourself the Nightfall as well, which will be able to give you the information, and you've got a showstopper on Jing, which, if you've ever seen Jing play, is always going to be a terrifying prospect. FNATIC have been very aggressive just to almost try and deny this, but early in the round, again, mid-control going to be battled for, and Jing slowly making his way through B main.
Yeah, this round Forsaken's a little bit more of a duelist. He doesn't have a trap to play with, so it also means you got to up the pace from PRX a little bit. They could be pushing A right now. There'd be no information there. 2 players already going to be stunned up on site. Not able to hear a damn thing. Deafened as the showstopper comes in. It's not finding the kill. It's not finding anything, but Jing made online for the back. That should be a nice, easy kill. And so the plant comes through. PRX 4v2. Operator on Turk for the retake. Certainly not ideal, but he's winning it towards middle. And Tom, I see Devi sitting around there.
It seems like they do expect the lurk in every spot, but Devi just ready. Leaving Mystic alone, and while financially not in the greatest of spots, probably just going to try and escape out of there. Flash is good, and he's managed to steal the operator. Devi's blinded himself. I don't think he expected that to be the way the duel went, but Jing with a triple kill. A quiet game for him so far, but 3 kills in this round, almost just raw entering on his own. I think he'll take it.
Just a good teammate there, Devi. You know, ult online, so he dies, so Jing can trade him, grab an ult orb.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Big brain Devi, we respect it, that's for sure. 5-5, PRX, call a timeout, win a round. They've maybe got the winning formula pin, but as I said, that had to be a much quicker round from them. They didn't have their trap to cover off any control. This time around, they will have that available, although not placed in the pre-round. As you can see, they're going for a default again. Little bit of mid-skirmish coming out of Mindfreak, presumably using some of his util.
Where is he going?
Late peeking.
He's just walking through the slow.
That's a strategy, all right.
Yeah. Fair enough, okay. He's tried to be a little bit cheeky, and he's been shut down by Durka, who I guess for the majority of the map has been on the other side. He's been fighting in towards A.
He didn't even have an anchor, right? Like, he was way past where his anchor reaches to inside that slow.
Maybe he was on the edge. I don't think he cared. I'll be
I don't think he gave a damn.
I don't think that was even a thought. He was like, hey, how far can I get? Are they going to stop me? He's walked into B multiple times and got a multi-frag. I don't doubt anything Forsaken does anymore.
Yeah, he does what he wants. Mystic picking up that frag. Oh, a nice spray reset, but leaves Mindfreak with a sliver of health. That's enough. Boaster stuck in the back of the site. Doesn't have the paranoia online anyways, so he doesn't mind about being powerless. What a timing from Mindfreak. Right up behind them in heaven. Alpha Year's the last alive. Man has got a res online, though. Maybe a chance. Oh! If he finds that kill, who knows?
Mindfreak is so nasty. He waits for them to break the window so that then he has the space to move through, because they're going to break that to try and sell the fact that they're going in the other direction, not having any idea that he would be that far forward. As I said, I feel like his lurks in this game so far have been the most impactful thing in this map, and he has Forsaken on his team. Like, he has been unbelievable. 14 and 6 at the moment, playing a lurk Astra.
I was going to say he's sick today, but I don't want to curse it. Sensitive topic. One round for them to play for here. PRX been doing well 2 in a row so far. This attack seeing a lot of presence towards A. Trap placed outside B for the control. They don't have to take it too fast, but well, Jing, he didn't read that handbook. He's right into the site. A is completely theirs. Great space taking.
Yeah, this is the pace that works best for Jing. You see him in the rounds where things are slow, maybe not playing his best game. You see the runs where they say, let's just go into the site. That's where Jing is dangerous. Now we're going to see the Cosmic Divide actually thrown in, locking him in under. Trying to give him that extra little bit of space. Both still fighting within the smoke, and actually Jing has gone down. Mystic being able to catch him out, smoking off the cross. They can actually start getting on the diffuser. They need to watch out though. Mindfreak is lurking in the back lines. You've seen the res already come through, and while Benkai is the only man standing, he's done a lot of damage onto the players, trying to get that diffusal. Even manages to get the connection onto Boaster. They're trying to pressure him, and eventually they will. It will be a 6-6 scoreline, and honestly, Mitch, I think that's exactly where it should be.
Yeah, neck and neck at the half. It's certainly how it's felt the whole way through. FNATIC, they've managed to streak together a couple of rounds here on the defense in the middle, and that's the lifeline that they needed, keeping them alive in this half. Now we get to see their attack. And look, you gotta remember, PRX chose to start on the attack side. That's the half that they wanted out of the way, and they end up even. The question for our analyst desk is 6 enough? Well, let's see that defensive comp out of PRX. Here's where they get to put their foot down and make a stop to FNATIC's win streak. Both of these teams, actually, 7 straight maps in a row. But you see there, PRX, they've been looking damn good on Ascent this stage.
Yeah, that's purely on Ascent for PRX. I don't think FNATIC have any. I think they lost their last game. So not on quite as good. Yeah, on this map versus FPX. So a close one at that. We'll see what they have planned for this defense. Knife already being thrown over the top. Maybe trying to fake out a little bit of information early. Forsaken just looking to try and play within the smoke placed down by the attackers. They should be aware of this, and with Enzo still having Prowlers, I'd be surprised if they're caught.
Oh, the boom bot, it gave the distraction that was needed, the timing for Forsaken, and now he's back over to short, ready to hold down, but the team resets. They move through mid. You know, we TP'd out of here a moment ago. That flash is good. Devi doesn't realize they've gone past him. They're in the spawn behind, and Devi has no idea. Durka able to take one before going down. That mistake corrected, and then doubled down on. Beautiful. Leaving Boaster alone. Well, he is just being surrounded, pushed on every side, but it looks like he's going to hold strong a little bit longer.
He basically caught that nade. A nice nade from Jinx. I feel like they needed to put him down, but yeah, Devi, huge mid-hold. Like, the fact is, he lets someone go past unintentionally and then ends up killing that player anyway, while also catching the rest of the Fnatic team. Because that was the thing. The reason Fnatic pressure that is because they know the TP has taken Forsaken away. So you go, okay, there must be a gap. There was not a gap.
Yep. They had very much planned for that in the early round, him to go aggressive. I almost feel like if he doesn't see contact in the first couple, he might even go for the TP right away, fill in the gap on the A side. It's a good intention and a good bait play out. PRX reap the reward of that now, 7-6 up against an Eco. Classics all around for Fnatic. Durka, 4 Headhunter bullets to play with.
I can't use that.
The only thing that Fnatic have going for them. So you'd be very surprised to see anyone else take the opening fight. Unless, of course, it's PRX doing something like that, right? Flashing in, taking the aggression. And they've managed to stall them out and get a ton of info. Gotta be very careful, though, Tom. You know, a little mistake up against these kind of numbers, so unforgiving when you run into 4 classics if you make an overextension.
Oh, no, don't go back to short. Don't go back to short. You don't know what you're walking back into, Fnatic. If you head in that direction, it's Forsaken with the Judge. He'll have his tour de force by next round if you do that.
Well, this is mid-peak. Out of the Headhunter from Durka to try and hold for top mid contact, and here it comes. They haven't swung wide enough, and Durka is now distracted, looking over at
Oh, he's now back.
Going back and forth. 2 quick kills. A little bit of damage out of Fnatic. You know, with these classics, one more here would be great for them, but they'll get nothing. Shut down by Jing. 8 rounds on the board for PRX, and the most important thing here, Tom, you know, those orbs, they're being stacked up on Divide, which I think you'd prefer that to someone like Jing having his ulti on load.
Yeah, he got a few himself. I feel like the flash was definitely not the best that came out of Divide, but it worked enough for Jing, and I think that's all that really mattered. 8-6 though. This is where Fnatic need to turn the tide. They've got some nasty combos they can throw in, especially alongside Mystic and Enzo. We've seen that from FPX many a time. Look at where the defense is though. 2 players in mid. Are they going to blast back straight down into tiles?
Oh, yes they are. And a flash up top as well. Thing is, this is kind of being given away. They're not ready though. Fnatic not reading into the blast pack play. They've been caught off. And now that push comes through from main. These forces,
So nasty.
they group up. Their combined damage already yielding a number of opening duels. A lot of damage to this team. 7 HP left on Mystic as he goes back for a heal. He'll at least get most of his health back, but this is not an easy round now for Fnatic. They have been disrupted.
They've got to clear everything. Like, literally, look at where Jing still is. Up until moments ago, I genuinely think there was a moment in his head where he was like, I could just run into their spawn with the Spectre. But instead, they are going to fall back. A minute left to play with for Fnatic to try and clear out some of these positions. And you know that Devi is still sat there, flash ready if they need to try and get more aggressive. Denkai even going to go for the swing, but they're pressuring. Mystic does trade it back, though.
This whole time, they've made all that noise on mid to tell these players, hey, look, I'm the furthest forward. I'm the point of contact, the tip of the spear. But actually, it's Boaster. Not a spear, but a dagger trying to make his way in behind them. They've spotted him just in time, though. And I don't think he's getting out. Oh, he is getting out of this one. Mind Freak's gone as well to be sights under threat. It's Jing that has to save the day, and he's gone too. This is winnable.
Oh, it should be winnable from here now. Forsaken left with his Headhunter in hand. They might not expect him to be here so soon. That's the only real surprise. Wall up, but it hasn't really covered off anything. In fact, it's left a gap that he's just going to walk straight through. I don't think they've spotted it yet. A chance for Forsaken down into the 1 versus 1. But he's read this wrong. He expects Boaster to be wrapping back around. Instead, Boaster still sits within the boathouse. A chance for Forsaken. He picks up a rifle along the way as well. A bullet or 2 needed, but he's given away his position. Almost trying to bait him in, and eventually Boaster will close it. Way too close for comfort for Fnatic, but they do just about scrape through the round.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that he survived so long in the spawn, and I think you just see how off guard Penkai was caught by that player being there. They thought that this was a
swings
clear...
it again, though.
Oh yeah, he went back out. Listen, I'm not going to excuse the second duel. The first one, very much so.
Enemy remaining.
Spectre at range.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how every Fnatic fan feels right now, Boaster.
Well, a round they probably would have liked to win a little cleaner, Tom. All the finances. Why? He's gone! And they've got a reveal as well. The Haunt doesn't catch Jing, also fell off the wall, but still, good attempt. I like to see the initiative, and that's not the only bit of aggression. They're pushing mid as well. An A main push, a mid push. A very passive B hold, but that's where FNATIC are going.
Only Forsaken would put his anchor that far forward straight away. Nobody else, but already they've managed to delay. Alphia has caught one though, and Divide just completely blinded by the paranoia. Boast has come out with a tasty couple of assists there. A nice shot back from Forsaken though, the spam even doing further damage, and he just got 2 for 1! It's gonna go down into Jing facing off against Boaster. He can TP to the other side of the map and he'll be able to get an afterplant.
30 HP and a nade online for Jing, Tom. This could all go so wrong, but it comes down to the position of Boaster.
Is he going to try and wrap all the way back? He's planted open for sure.
So far back.
So if he manages to run all the way back, there's no way this is a position you're going to expect from Jing, right? Unless he's an absolute genius. You're even going to see the smoke coming through up from heaven, and he's going to nade himself. Definitely not what the plan was, but he has absolutely no idea. And now Boaster's bought enough time for himself to wrap all the way back around on the flank. A single bullet needed, and I don't think Jing has made the realization. He'll finally work it out, TP to the other side, but he hasn't even managed to get it close to halfway. Boaster almost just playing with his food as the peak comes out. A fantastic clutch from Boaster, and the scoreline level once again, Mitch. He's even going to die to the spike. I think he was celebrating too much.
You know what? Can you blame him? Can you blame him? The clutch that he just won.
God.
It should never have been that close, but I'm not sure you can account for something like that. Just unbelievably unlucky timing for FNATIC. And it gave the edge to PRX, but that wasn't enough. The 30 HP 1v1, the big brain IGL coming out with the victory and equalizing the scoreline. They're right back in this game, and Tom, they might be right back in the lead. PRX have to take an eco, but Forsaken, he's coming through with his ult just in time.
Well, that's the thing. It's an eco in terms of weaponry. It definitely is not an eco when it comes down to the ultimates. You're looking at 4 online. One of them has already had impact in the Tour de Force. You got a showstopper. You got a null command and Cosmic Divide. Maybe that'll play a part. Luckily for FNATIC, they do have their res. So Enzo's going to be back online. They're waiting to see if there's any re-aggression, but you can tell now FNATIC are going to be quite a bit more careful with the angles they're taking.
I'll tell you what, there was a moment where I'm thinking Jing's about to pop that showstopper once the res comes through and just go steaming into B main looking for duels.
Guarantee he had the same thought.
Yeah, I could see him hovering the key, man. I saw it, but he decided against it. Probably the right call, resetting and allowing this Tour de Force to get a second lease of life. Second opportunity to take a kill. And it's right outside this A site. He's about to have the challenge. Forsaken's pushed back by the Prowler. And he's going to be caught now as well. I don't think he can take his ult out just yet. Yeah, he's suppressed. He's got to run for his life. Buy time, stay alive. And FNATIC are capitalizing on that.
Alpha just tried to wall up in towards the site through the Cosmic Divide. Well, I question whether it would have impact. The ult definitely has. A freebie kill. Boaster trying to lurk his way through though. They might not have spotted this angle, but they actually use that haunt to give him away. The rest of the team though is doubled back in towards the B site. It's completely clear, so the likelihood is FNATIC will have an afterplant, and more importantly, Boaster is still here behind them.
And he passed right by a Prowler. I don't think that they imagine that he could be around this area. Maybe they'll clear it. Yes, they will. Okay, Vigilant on the way through. They've managed to avoid giving him a pick, and they don't want to hunt him down. That's the thing. It's just a time waster completely. He can keep on playing cat and mouse all round long. PRX need a reset. They've got to look for the site, and that's Durka waiting for them, missing the shot. Enzo with a rifle in hand, holding down the laneway. He'll give up ground too. The ultimate used here, hoping that that'll give them the extra edge, dodging the reveal around behind the boxes, and Durka now with an up in hand gets that extra shot off, finds the kill that may just have secured the round. Left Forsaken with absolutely no chance to even get out.
That's the thing, he can just try and hold them in. Bear in mind, they lost every player in the last round, so any cost that can be caused here will actually affect FNATIC. But again, they had to use a lot for this, Mitch. Even though it was mostly those pistols that were put into play, okay, there was a couple of ults on the other side invested. You still have to bear in mind, there is a null command, a showstopper, and now the rifles and an operator on the other side going into this round, whereas FNATIC had to burn almost everything.
It was a really well-played early round as well, though. The fact that you get that tag going on right away, oh my god, yeah, you see that. Not too happy about how that round played out for sure. But yeah, seeing the tag go down, the suppression immediately, and then the fallback for Forsaken, he's still able to set up to reposture into that fight as Alpha went up on top of the wall. It was an unexpected duel, I think, even for Alpha. He thought he had that extra grace period of a second or so to get up there, fire off a few shots, and instead, well, he found out
the initial plan was awesome, because it was basically that you had the knife go through, it's removed, and then Bosa swings offshore. So it should be free. Yeah. Unfortunately, he doesn't connect, then the Cosmic Divide goes up, and then Forsaken's able to get away, and that's where everything gets super dangerous. PaperX are going to take a pause, and I can understand why. This game is getting scarily close. They've gone into FNATIC's map choice, and for the majority, they've looked, if anything, in command for a lot of the rounds, especially in this second half. But FNATIC starting to adapt, starting to win some big clutch moments, and those are the moments that could define this map.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, they've got that lead right now. But taking a look at where things are at economically, certainly shaky ground. At operator for Durka, one of the main things.
They win the round and don't buy.
And it's caught it. Yeah, no, it's a strange one. Like you said, coming out of previous round, though, they lost so many players. They survived the previous with, was it nobody or just the one that came through?
I think it was 2.
No, the one before.
Oh, the one before was nobody, yeah.
Nobody,
Most
and
died
then
to the
2, yeah.
spike.
So your economy is just in such a rough spot that they've almost made the right call. It's very, very rare to see this happen, though.
Yeah, and I guess when you have Durka, you can almost take that gamble every once in a while, because there's a good opportunity. He might just win you the round. Nonetheless, rifle retrieved. Forsaken, though, is going walkabouts. So dangerous when he gets in this zone. And actually, Bosa's gone down, trying to sneak his way through again, and now it's just free. It's so free. That's a spike on the deck. Dirk has been able to take one back, but he has to go on a retrieval mission.
Yeah, you're peeking right into this op. There's not a lot that can get them across on this. It looks like they might just want to dry peek into this. A little bit of utility to clear close corner, but
they didn't get the spike.
They haven't got it. No, they're not even close. They're still worried about him. Finally, though, a star comes back online. It looks like we might have an attempt out of the defensive side to crunch in on that spike. Getting past the utility for a moment. So
both sides are open.
They used the smoke to walk past the trap on A, but then have gone back completely. And Fnatic, you know, meanwhile, they're letting them do all this, these little mind games and so on, and they'll just take B.
It's happened a couple of times. Bankai, though, winning that duel versus Enzo is actually a huge deal. Now Durka going to try and reclaim this angle. He's definitely going to peek into this. You can already see the ult was almost utilized by Bankai, worried about this position. And Nightmare is not even going to connect onto him. So Durka is still going to have all his sound. Waiting, nice shot from Alpha here as well. But the shot missed from Durka. Turning it back into that 2v2 scenario. Looking to try and swing into this operator, a second miss. And now Alpha is the last man standing. All he has is his pistol, trying to turn this around. The first goes his way, but Mind Freak will drop him. Once again, we go 9-9, but I guess considering they didn't properly buy it,
it was,
not a bad
you know,
round.
The easiest way to say it is it was a bonus round for Fnatic,
Yeah.
right? Like, you don't normally see them this late, but that's what it was. So for PaperX, that's a round win. If anything, it's probably closer than it should have been, which is weird to say. And in this round, they're going to come through on the Fnatic side. They have, I believe, got the Tour de they've got the Tour de Force online on Durka. Now, null command on Devi, and we've seen that be a problem before. So Fnatic will still purchase up that rifle on Durka and leave the Tour de Force as an option for maybe this round or maybe the next.
Yeah, but look at the buy for PaperX. That's the thing. Even though it wasn't the normal spot for a bonus, the money sucks right now on PaperX. We're going to see a fast-paced move. Null command initiated instantly. Counter stars placed to hold them back that little bit longer. Although I say hold them back, Bosa's just gone TPing into the site. Alpha as well up on the wall. This could be a nasty surprise for Bankai. He's being pressured from all angles, and eventually Alpha will take him down. Sight in. Jingo's just gone through, but he hasn't managed to connect again. The showstopper seems meaningless. He just uses it to blast himself into the air, trying to fight back, and he somehow gets another one. Eventually, he's put in the dirt, but he's done enough. His teammates even it again.
I don't know how Jings managed to keep them alive in this one, but still that heartbeat is starting to become faint, and Fnatic fade away completely. PaperX take a 10th here. Blink and you miss it on that one, Tom.
He's a madman. He's an actual madman. Like, the rest of the team are like, okay, we're setting up, we've got our flashes. I've got the operator, I'll hold. And Jing's like, I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm going to go get 2 kills. By the way, neither of them will be with the showstopper, the giant bazooka I just fired at someone. I'll just use that to slightly fly into the air and then just headshot 2 people instead. It is the least conventional retake you will ever see in your lives, but that is Jing in a nutshell.
Yes, Minnie, I feel that exactly, and I think that's the only appropriate response. One of those rounds you'll be hanging your head afterwards, just upset, and you let it go that a player can pop off like that on PaperX and put you onto an eco, potentially an 11-9 scoreline. Jing, same play out of the flash, and he's in. They have absolutely no idea that this pace is a possibility, and that's the spike drop. Jing is just lightning fast, and there's nothing the Fnatic can do about it. 2 versus 5.
He's just put smoke on the spike. It's like they're trying to troll Fnatic in half of these rounds.
He's used the tour de force, so yeah. Smoke it up. They're not going to push into that with a tour de force, are they?
Yeah.
It's a big risk.
And they've got a res as well if they ever wanted to try and throw that in. I don't think this will be the round they're going to use it, but I love the fact that every time we see that same push. All right. Okay. I think Forsaken might have had a little bit of tunnel vision there.
Well, they've managed to obtain that spike after the smokes had dissipated and got back in with one being pulled back. Still so much for Fnatic to do. They are in the attacker spawn with 40 seconds left and half the manpower their opponents have to work with. Mind Freak still has a ton of stars. Utility really not looking to be
30 seconds
any
left.
sort of problem. And there you go. And that nade is about to ruin his day. Jing's got 4, and his showstopper's almost back, Tom. Not that that's really going to mean anything from what we've seen.
The thing is, I feel like if you look at this round in like layman's terms, you look at it in the bare bones, you say, Jing is a madman, he's running them, and he's getting a load of kills.
Yeah.
Is not the case. It's not the case. The fact they have a pop flash to blind the person, they have a stun for anybody at the back, and they have a haunt that they have to lean up to shoot. There's like 4 different pieces of utility that pop just before he goes around that corner. So that first kill is as free as can be.
Yeah.
Now, some of the rest of the swings, he is actually a madman still.
Yeah.
But it's that supportive utility that make PaperX god tier.
Look,
Jing alone is good.
You can do that every round in ranked, and it's not going to work the majority of the time. You're going to look silly going blast packing down mid, and it's funny to watch it and go, but how can a pro team not? He's blast packing mid. Come on, you can hear it. He's done it already, but it's because, yeah, like you said, there's so many other things for them to worry about. There's the blast packs, there's the haunt, there's the stun, there's all these things coming their way, and now a tour de force to deal with. But they have managed to take down Bankai on the other side.
I'm just going to stick that for a second.
You will not kill my
There's the res. Right back up into a 5v4, and not anything that PaperX can do about it.
Was that TP a distraction to get them away from B main? Because if it is, that's genius. It's like, okay, well, he's trying to take side control. I have to run back and fight him. Jing, though, just re-aggresses. Dirk is alive for about 5 seconds, and he's already dead once again. Ready to set up in towards this A site. Nade looking at that cross as well to try and slow them down if needed. No ultimates available either for Fnatic, so getting in here is not going to be easy, unless, of course, Mystic just pops.
He just jumped into it! He jumped into the knife while he had the oh no! The showstopper was out, and then he just completely ruined it. Fnatic walk out. Find it easily. Jing dealt with in heaven, and that is a disaster for the old youth. How has he gotten 2?
I don't know, but it seems like they've gone tunnel vision into their position. Somehow Mind Freak has brought this back into a winnable position, knowing roughly where a couple of these players are. Enzo just sat around the generator. One player almost directly below him, making this drop should be instant death, but he's actually got a little bit further. He isolates the first, and there's no trade for Enzo. This 1v4 is on, and it leaves it down just to one man standing, pinged up by the haunt, looking for the final player, and somehow Mind Freak brings this back. It looked like a done deal after a slip-up from PaperX, but somehow this man wins it again.
Yeah, his clutch potential is off the charts right now. There were a couple of opportunities for Jing in that round. There were a couple of opportunities for PaperX as a whole. Never would I have thought that Mind Freak was going to be the one to dig them out of this hole. He had nothing. He didn't even have a star to work with in this. This is just raw firepower, taking them across the line. You see from the PaperX facility way over in Singapore, they're feeling pretty good about their team's chances here. 12-9, 3 opportunities to close it out here on map 1. Fnatic's map pick, and they're calling a pause.
That should be the nail in the coffin. A 1 versus 4 to put yourself on map point. He's had a truly unbelievable map. He's playing the Astro. He is 25-12. there's something I mentioned earlier in the tournament that you seem to see these controller players come into Masters event, and that's what always surprises us. It's never these explosive duelists. We look at them at the beginning, we go like, oh, you know, we're going to get a Taco Leah, he's going to be insane. We always overlook the controllers. Mind Freak is on fire right now.
Absolutely. This actually, just looking at the stats, it makes you want to brush your eyes, ensure there's nothing obscuring your vision. 25 kills, 12 deaths, and he's still almost leading for assists if divided of 19. But yeah, it's kind of cheating on a KO, I feel like. You can't be coming in on that. But Mind Freak, just unbelievable value for this team right now as we rock on into what could be the final round. 3 in a row needed for FNATIC to close themselves in OT. And Tom, they've got to do it on the attack side up against a fierce PRX that are going in again! Jing, he got flashed up this time and walled off, sectioned into their spawn, but they're not done.
Okay, I swear that's the second time this game Alfia has not realized someone's there and still killed them anyway. I don't know how he's getting away with this. It's almost like, if I don't see you, you don't see me, but somehow it's worked out for them. Forsaken still gets the kill onto Enzo. It has left him very low on HP, but what Alfia has already done in this round, well, I don't even want to say it should be enough because they just lost a 1v4.
That was an ambitious attempt out of PRX, something that's had a lot of success for them in the past. And honestly, the difference this time is just that flash blinded Jing. If it doesn't, they win. If that goes the way it did the last 2-3 times, he's good for 1 minimum. And it will be the Sage taken out. But instead, we come back into this with Alpha, 2 kills under his belt already. Aggression attempted and succeeded. FNATIC on their way to the A site. Only Forsaken in their way!
What?
He's caught Mystic on the fade back. And keeping control, a foothold of the A site. They've got to cross him. They've got to face him down or smoke him out. And that's what they're going to do, the latter. But he's not done. Forsaken. Well, he's thinking about going through it with 11 HP, and Alpha Air punishes.
Oh, I just almost had to breathe out there, a sigh of relief. I thought he was going to get away with murder once again. Now it's Benkai's turn. 1 less than last time, but you can see homed in on the angle. Alfia watching, waiting for someone to try and make that move. The Prowler gives away Durka's position, but clearing out these players underneath, well, it shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't be possible. And now they know exactly where he is. He's not getting that opportunity just yet, and a trade this time does come through from FNATIC.
Yep, all you can do in that situation for Benkai is attempt to create your own opportunities, but really it relies on FNATIC making big misplays, and they certainly did. This just is utterly ridiculous. And the immediate reset from Alpha, you see his tactical awareness in this moment. Left. The wall is up, he doesn't need to worry about that. It's just be main, and he resets instantly.
He walls while completely blind. He's like, okay, right, I'm blind. But I know roughly my wall should go here. Okay, I've walled. Oh, there's a dude there. All right, and now I'm going to kill that guy. Oh, wait, they normally push B main straight after.
When they do that,
oh, cool, free kill, nice. It's like, his decision-making for someone who is 17 years of age is ridiculous.
Oh, that nade is perfect. Now have to step right back out of A main, and well, even suffering a little bit of damage along the way. Shields mostly stripped off of Boaster. So not a great early round so far for FNATIC. They've been denied the control they looked for on A. They've taken some damage. And outside of B, it's pretty much the same thing. In fact, B main is being challenged by PRX. The same old teleport we've seen from Forsaken a couple of times. It allows him into just the nastiest of positions up close, and he can fade out of here almost immediately. They need to be clinical in taking this duel, and they are anything but.
He just didn't leave. I was thinking for a second he might try and rotate off. Jing has been caught though. This might mean a double back, but for now at least they're still fighting. Diviego's looking. They've even got the res, and while Forsaken's gone as well. Turning this into a 5 versus 2. Both players very far apart. And with the pincer coming through that market, I don't know what Benkai can do from here.
He should be done.
30 seconds left.
Don't worry about the stairs on their way through. They're about to smoke him off. And, well, does he want to go through it? No. He's going to try and keep them inside of main. Misses it, and then, well, goes out to his death. That was an expected outcome, really. Mind Freak left alone. A 1v5, Tom. Literally no chance he wins this. And
shut up.
Cemented by the fact that he's on main. 0%.
You shut your mouth.
There is no reality in the multiverse.
There isn't. Maybe he can grab while them all back into the spike and they all die. That's the only way I think he can do anything here, but no. It is going to be another round. And I genuinely feel like a lot of this game has been FNATIC trying to adapt to what PaperX are doing. And it's the most difficult game in the world to play. Like, it's the impossible challenge. And somehow Fnatic are doing a pretty decent job of it, catching a lot of the aggression, waiting for some of those rotational pushes that have been coming through so regularly, and basically just stopping PaperX in their tracks. And the danger now is PaperX are pretty low on economy. Like, you're watching Mindfreak save a Bulldog. If that doesn't tell you enough, well, we'll have a look at the credits.
Well, he has just taken down Durka, but that came at the cost of his life. I think maybe a calculated gamble to swing out wide, take another rifle from the floor, and at least make this more costly for Fnatic. But there's no real impact of that, right? I think even if he killed everyone in Fnatic, they're able to buy up for this last round. Over on PaperX, he'll end up with a Bulldog on Mindfreak and nothing for Benkai.
Are you doubting the Frenzy?
Well,
do you remember
3 players on Light Shields, a Frenzy on Benkai for final round a half. Look, it's not ideal, but Jing's gone. He's sending it again. The reveal's huge. Jing's got 2. That play has been teased again and again. And finally, PaperX get the success out of it. Couldn't be a better round for it. Now those disadvantages, well, they don't look so bad when you've got a 4v3.
That was gorgeous. As you said, they attempted it a couple of times. This is the one time it's properly paid off for PaperX, and it's at 12-11. Again, we're going to see a reset from Fnatic in towards mid. Try and wait and patiently watch to see if anybody's going to get aggressive, but not this time. Forsaken sat in the corner towards the logs. He's got the crossfire as well with Mindfreak. You've got deep control on A as well. It's only really mid that has any gaps. And even that's being watched sneakily by Benkai every once in a while.
It's hard to imagine this goes their way. Forsaken's able to TP back to the B site. Mindfreak, trade, set up on site with his teammate, and they've already got the advantage, but this relies on Forsaken getting something done, and this is... Oh! He's actually not gotten the kill. Durka made it out. A little bit of information to play with, perhaps, but 30 seconds, Tom. Where they're relying on Boaster, again making it through mid. He's thread the needle. He did this many times in the past. He's had the success before. He won them that round on B, but Benkai, Frenzy in hand! No way it's the Frenzy to do it! The spike remains in Fnatic's hands, but they've only got 10 seconds to get it planted. They're closing in on the site. That smoke actually allows Divide to stay alive. They've got it planted, they'll get it done. Just about. A 2 versus 2 emerges.
Chance, Boaster, he's going to get dinked up, both players tagged, and now it's left on to Enzo. A quieter game from him thus far. Needs to try and isolate one of these jewels, and he goes looking, Forsaken facing the other way. He's heard that window broken, and now looks to try and wrap around behind them, knowing that both players are coming through this door, waiting for that initial fight, and he finds it. Mindfreak once again left into the clutch. Even going to tap onto that spike. In fact, he's looking to try and stick it at least halfway. The Haunt has given him away, and it's a rematch from before. And once again, Mindfreak is going to win it. PaperX, they have taken map 1.
Again and again, clutch after clutch, Mindfreak has been there. The foundation of this team, keeping them standing in that first map. They have stolen Fnatic's map pick.
That was the whole best of 3, right, Mitch? That was the whole best of 3.
Just
right?
the start, Tom. We're
was
just getting started. Bind next.
I'm out of breath.
In my mind, Ascent is almost the appetizer of this series. It's a teaser moving into the madness of Bind and Haven. And Tom, we've already gotten an impeccable set of rounds. I mean, so many clutches out of Mindfreak. Fnatic have had their upsides to it. Looking at that scoreboard, though, it's undeniable. 28 and 14 for Mindfreak. This guy just had his life game.
My heart is legitimately racing. Like, I'm not even kidding. My heart is legitimately racing from how ridiculous this match was. This was map 1. This was the series of the day in my eyes, but it could even be the series of the tournament. The way this is kicked off, I think next, my mind might be fried, but I think we're going to Bind, which is, it's an incredible map for PaperX, but I think that every single map in this series has the chance to go in the other direction. There is no clear-cut victory, as proven by what has just happened.
Here it is.
They have just lived exactly what I felt in that last round. An incredible map from Mindfreak. Honestly, that was one of the maps of a tournament from a player that we didn't necessarily expect it from. When you have Jing and Forsaken, and just the beauty of some of those rounds from PaperX, I love this team.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch these guys, Tom. And You know, I said coming into this, we were talking behind the scenes, and both of these teams had 7 straight maps. They were on a win streak, and, well, PRX's win streak continues. FNATIC, though, they've got to bounce back on Bind. PRX's map pick.
Need to sit down.
Let's hear from our analyst desk after the break. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you have had an opportunity to grab a beverage, take a nap. I don't know, because there's
Take a nap?
Where?
After that game, I needed a nap, okay?
That's called getting old, go on, boy.
Maybe, but that was an incredible game, and I was genuinely blown away. We have a lot to talk about, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this here, because, you know, Mimi, there were just so many plays. So many plays that happened in this game, and we tried to whittle them down, and we just couldn't because there's just too much.
There was so much happening in this map. I mean, Alpha was having a fantastic game. Mindfreak was having a life game, like the casters were saying. But I think the biggest overarching thing was just the back and forth between these callers. This game was going in either direction pretty much every other round. It was PRX controlling that pace with so many forward plays on the defensive side, but then FNATIC finding those answers. But a few of those plays that really shocked us were these ones out of PRX, and particular in the retake spread.
This was ridiculous. I mean, the tempo of which this entire round was being taken is up to 11. And I think PRX were not challenged in their previous matchup in this tournament in terms of just teams being able to keep up with the pace. Maybe that's not a fair claim to make, considering that they did go the distance in the other map. But between both of these teams, it has just been non-stop adaptations on either side. I mean, we were going to build a 30-minute post-map segment. We needed to, like, slow ourselves down and cut stuff back because there was so much to talk about with these teams in terms of how they're playing and the tempo, the pace that gets brought to it. Jing with a lot of the set plays that was occurring as well, and FNATIC with the adjustments over the top of it. And yeah, it's so back and forth. The economy was in dire straits almost the entirety of the second half.
Yeah, it was insanity, and so much credit given to Jing because he was the guy setting that pace. His team sets him up so incredibly well between Mindfreak on the Astra and also the supportive line with the initiators. That the fade play in particular was so good from PRX to allow this guy to be fighting forward. I think of that one setup where they're fighting for A main. They go into their own smoke up top the wall, spray through off the haunt. So many creative set plays being brought out, and I think myself and I imagine others too were a little doubtful that they'd be able to keep up that pace versus FNATIC, but they did it, and they won the map off of it.
But you know who's the player that I want to talk about?
Who? There's lots.
Mindfreak.
Okay.
That's right.
Why is that the
Mindfreak?
He was an absolute
Mindfreak, because it is our Verizon high-speed moment, and we are going to just talk, Bren, about the Mindfreak. This guy, just the clutch that he pulled off after it's just like everything that you think you know, and he throws it out the window, man.
A 1v4 from Mindfreak in this situation, and he plays it with impeccable timing.
Utility options.
No utility options really at all. But I really cannot stress how intelligently he played every single moment of this. He doesn't open himself up to these angles. The Haunt comes out here. He waits until it's about to expire, so his positioning is revealed for but a moment, and it's enough to fake out Enzo in terms of where he should be placing with this crosshair placement.
Yeah, and again, you can just see how much it means to the people watching this team. I mean, Mindfreak, what an incredible performance out of him. This is like some Marv stuff. This is some Mako stuff. You don't expect this from Mindfreak, but he is showing up when it mattered the most for PRX. It wasn't just that clutch, but so many moments where he's just finding the consistency. Jing is the one to create the space, to find those early aggressive moments for PRX, but time after time, it is Mindfreak following up and winning massive rounds when it gets down to the wire.
Some might say that Mindfreak was a magician in that game.
What?
Because of Chris Angel? Come on, Mimi, level up.
It's lost. It's
both
lost
suck.
on me.
Anyway, moving on. I know at least 5 30-year-olds knew what I was talking about there. Let's go.
Are there that many 30-year-olds watching?
That's a target audience for Valorant GP.
Maybe the people in the green room are watching.
This is the Aim Lab shoot around, and it's Durka with the offensive crosshair. If you want to use this, go ahead and scan the QR code that's on your screen if you too like to play life on the wild side.
Or just download Aim Labs and play with a nice, normal, honest crosshair.
Yeah,
I mean, Durka, he had a solid map in map number 1, but it wasn't jaw-dropping, and I don't think that's because he was playing badly. I think it's because the style of PRX is just really tough to counter when you're on the chamber. I think the best time you'd be facing them as a chamber player would be when they're running the Neon, but here, when it's the raised double satchels and the util to follow it up, it's really difficult to op, and we saw Durka struggling with that.
Yeah, well, now we're going to be moving on to map 2. It's going to be PRX's pick here on Bind. And again, this is another one that was like, what? Like, you know, you have the choice. You have ice. It's just wild that we're going to be going on bind here against FNATIC.
Yep.
And PRX chose it.
I love watching FNATIC on this map. They have been innovating. People have been stealing their tech, their Viper Molly lineups to apply pressure this way, that way, and they're up against PRX, who also have so many different looks on this map. And I really, really, really hope we get to see the Yoru from PRX, because the way they play it on this map, Mimi, you brought it up earlier. There is no team like it in terms of the way they implement Yoru into their overall game plan. It's like they play as a hive mind when Forsaken plays the Yoru. It is always being supported.
It is absurd as well, because that's not the sole duelist. They run the Yoru plus the Raze on this map, so you get the insanity from Jing's double satcheling in, and that is combined with Forsaken off of a pop flash, normally from the breach of Benkai, TPing in. Normally it's that front truck TP that we see from him so often. Teams know it's happening. Teams know what is coming, but still no one has really been able to counter him out. They're 7-0, the record on this map. Both these teams, I think, are two of the best bind teams in the world, if not the two best in the world, but they have completely polar opposite ideas of how to play the map.
You have to have confidence the size of grapefruits to pick bind against FNATIC. And that is exactly what PRX did here. We're waiting for the agent select in a moment. We don't know what we're going to be getting here from either team. But, Bren, you're right. I mean, this is... to me, this reads as like a PRX that is just saying, "Oh yeah, you're good at this map." So are we.
They have so many different. They have two different looks as well that they like to play on this one. So it's a difficult map to prep for if you are FNATIC.
And they've been successful both of them.
Yes, and I think the thing that I love most so far about this series and what it's delivering is that it's been incredibly close, and it hasn't been due to the downfall of any particular players. And now, are we going to see it? That's the question. I'm going to stop talking because I'm looking at Forsaken. My eyes are glued to that one position. Is he going to be playing the Euros?
All right, well, this is your Prime Gaming agent select. Mimi, let's see what we get locked in here.
I think it's happening. This is normally the comp they play around it with Devi on the Fate. There it is. They lock it in. I'd expect Jing to go into the secondary duelist of that Raze, and that he does. So setup is that double duelist duo of Forsaken and Jing. They're going to be insane on the attacking side to take space, but on the defense as well, look for Forsaken with those fast rotations, sending those fake outs through the teleport, making it really difficult for FNATIC to understand where he is in the mid-round.
All right, well, it's now time to jump into the action. We're set for map 2, so let's send it back to young Tomathan of Business and Mitchell E. Mann. That is their God-given names.
Well, you learn something new every day, Mr. Bizzle. I'm very excited to get on into this one. You know,
please get it correct.
My apologies. My apologies. I will be better in the future. I am a little bit afraid for this matchup. 13-11 first map, very close. I'm expecting this one to be the same, but we heard from Benkai in the interview just a couple days ago. He didn't think many teams were going to be brave enough to play him here on Bind. He said FNATIC's the one exception, and sure enough, they've let it through. This map picked out by PRX, and they are 1-0, looking to close it out here and now and add to that win streak, make it 9 maps in a row.
Yeah, they're going to kick it off on the defense side. As Mimi mentioned, there is still value that can be brought from this Yoru, but a lot of the time I feel like it really comes through on that attack. So we'll see what Forsaken's going to be able to do here. Of course, when he gets that operator in hand, there's definitely a little bit more danger. But already, it seems like they're challenging at least a little bit in towards that B side. But on A, things are very passive.
Tiger coming up right away for the B-long control. FNATIC certainly looking to put a bit of pressure in, something they're known for. Not going to see that typical snake bite down for the B-long. Obviously, with it being pistol, carry quite a bit of value to them. So this means PRX maintain the control. They're still spotting B-long. They're not too worried about inside of Buka, and a good stun nade almost yields value to start with. PRX got to be under pressure, though. These players leaving open the option to go through the teleport.
With the spike going back in the other direction, I feel like Devi might be about to spot it. In fact, he's just dropped it on the floor. The aggression then comes out of Jing, taking down a weakened Durka. This is already looking troublesome for the side of FNATIC, trying to find a way back into this round. What has happened with this crosshair?
Something else from Devi.
He must just play like a weird res. I don't believe it's actually that size. Okay, Boaster. I feel like this happens in a lot of pistol rounds where everybody's dead and then Boaster's like, no worry guys, I'll get 2 kills and then lose.
You heard the extra TP as well. 10 seconds left. Just about timing that to get out. I think he'll get a plant quite open. Well, not at all. In fact, he didn't have the time by the time he made it to the corner. Forsaken.
Gun here.
Hammering home that final bullet. 1-0. A good start for PRX. And you know, you look at FNATIC's attempt there, it really just not the play. They went for an A fake, they had their wall down, they tried to cross, tried to sell that fake info, but the stun, the nade, and the follow-up duels just way too much, combined with that success for Devi and his ridiculous crosshair.
So, this was taken.
Solid start. Of course, we're seeing Benkai, I believe, bring in that breach, which was something I think he'd switched up a few times, like having a mix in there with the Viper occasionally thrown in with their other composition, but I think this is the one that everybody was really looking for, because it's the one that involves the Yoru. That's probably the reason why. Of course, for FNATIC in this round, nothing, basically. No investment, obviously not having a chamber, so no headhunter, so ultimately just trying to group up and catch someone as they go. Forsaken, well, he's almost just trying to play mind games at this point.
Yeah, running out with his decoy to try and yield a duel on the back of it. And like FNATIC's early play, I think they were probably looking for a Q there, hoping that PRX would do something maybe that they'd seen before in VODs or something like that, but nothing comes through. You got to make your own move. And about that time, PRX are putting 2 and 2 together, realizing no contact outside B, not a lot of time on the clock. We can get a little flank on the way. That's exactly what's going on. They're now contained by this Devi play up behind, and all they need to do is win their duels on site with better weapons, with shields. They lose the pistol to start with, but look at the damage.
One enemy remaining.
I think the SMGs are just going to clear this up, no problem at all. Jing making his way ever closer to making sure he has that showstopper on a little bit earlier. And actually, Nightfall is not too far away here, especially if they can challenge for an orb or two. There might be some danger in this round. Interesting, though, at least with the initial buy-up, it looked like Forsaken might actually go for a rifle here.
Maybe on the Yoru, the idea of being able to play across the map could be a little bit tempting. So he can like start with a bit of aggression on one side, teleport through to the other, still have that support, so you get a pretty global rifle out of it. And Devi going to do the same, so a couple of opportunities here for PRX, that's for sure.
The thing is, though, the credits are left kind of low, so this is more of a gamble than you might necessarily expect it to be.
That was a really interesting start. Prowler through teleport on long. They try to take contact of Bath, see nobody, and that justifies them being so light on this right side of the map. They don't need to worry about Bathroom because the Prowler would have seen someone, and no noise was heard afterwards. It's a good indication that the presence is being taken elsewhere on the map, and you can see the PRX are stacking up the B site with 3 and keeping a super passive A-hold, but that's read into by Alpha, who's seizing some space of his own.
Well, that's the thing. It has to be something expected at this stage. You've seen a Viper screen, he's bypassed their smoke, and actually Forsaken does go walking. You might have thought that that was a decoy, but it wasn't. Not expecting anybody to be that far through. A bit of a misplay out from the side of PRX, and well, an afterplan for free in favor of FNATIC, and now an attempted retake.
Yeah, it definitely plays out as a mistake. They were stacked on B and ready for the A play. They gave up control over Bath, and sure, it was just good timing by FNATIC, catching them off guard that they'd retaken Bath and been so close, but all right, Jing flashed up, picks up another weapon, and takes the kill. Of course he does. Now he's blast packing out on mid. Who's surprised? Nade down in Bathroom and still hunting them. His teammates fighting his behind on mid, trying to get them a little bit of space. Meanwhile, he's carved out Bathroom control, but Boaster yielding that duel, it might be enough. Devi's left alone and having to get the defuse against 2 very different angles and a bit of utility to annoy him. This round's done for Devi. The question is, can he even get out at this point without taking the teleporter? He's going to have to run fast.
Should
just
be
about,
okay.
yeah.
Just about. But that's important because, as I said, they invested quite a bit more than you normally would into this sort of bonus round. It is still truly terrifying how good Jing can be in those scenarios. Like, I think he even misses his nade, or by the looks of it, runs into his own teammate's aftershock, which is basically just being used to clear out Durka, and then still comes out with 2 kills. If he hits that headshot, he wins him the round. Like, Enzo is then isolated, but instead, it swings back into FNATIC's favor. Close for what the round was, but then look at what the purchase is now on the other side. You've got Benkai seemingly again going to go down to a frenzy. Forsaken going to be handed a rifle for that, and it means that there's still some gaps in this buy for PRX.
It definitely feels like they wanted Devi to come out of that with the 2 orbs, right? To have themselves that ult to close in space. Even if Jing didn't have this showstopper, getting him onto a site, you can imagine how terrifying it is, losing vision, losing your audio for a moment, and then having this dude blitzing his way up on top of you. It can be scary. Those Prowlers coming through but not finding anyone. You can see that Forsaken, he's not deterred on his aggression, but it hasn't worked this round either.
No, expected. Caught out by Althea in the last two. Now the B site's starting to come in onto pressure. You got the Hawk initially clearing the close angles, the Prowler doing the same in towards Hookah. It leaves basically the site just to be pressured now. Still lurking within the smoke. You can see the spam even coming through from Durka as he leads the charge. Actually, straight away, Showstopper actually utilized. He somehow gets way further than he should do without being shut down. And the trade's coming back and forth. Spike on the ground and isolated behind the smoke, but they do have a man advantage.
Wow, Boaster. He had even been checked as well. But another kill that goes his way. He's low, but 3 players peeking guarantees the round for FNATIC. Very nicely handled. Althea not gonna. Oh, he just about got the plant. Just about got it for his ulti orb. And he has got his Viper's Pit online coming into round number 5. So altogether, very strong position for FNATIC to play from, Tom. With that Showstopper used, again, finding nothing. 33 HP left.
And actually, Mystic's the one who hits him while completely blind. I think the utility off by like a millisecond. Like if he gets hit there by the Prowler just before, then that's a free kill. It's as easy as it gets. It's funny as well because he goes straight past Durka. I feel like Durka's almost looking at him like, I can't believe you've just attempted that. And now they're going to go running in onto Boaster, just trying to put the pressure on. Trying to get the orb as well.
He's done a lot of damage, but yeah, eventually he has to give it up, and so the orb goes PRX's way. They have lost a bit of control for their trouble, though. Oh, okay, the flash play in for Forsaken. Attempted to style up on them, but the shots don't land. Benkai's forced out of Bath and taken down. They have just dropped the spike in the open, but holding it seems to be a tall task.
Pressure with the Stinger. I don't know how Jing seems to get away with so much, and now because of that, Nightfall is going to be invested. A quick reposition, though, from FNATIC. They're going to try and get out the back. And more importantly, Enzo, he's still holding on here. But how's he doing this much with the Stinger? His 3rd kill of the round.
And they know these players have ran right down to the side, right? They were seeing those trails for a moment, saw them swing right. That plant going down, FNATIC have players right behind them. And oh, Jing, that was ambitious. He has been traded, and Mind Freak doubles up. 1 HP on Devi, 61 for Mind Freak, and PRX, they reclaim their lead.
Jing is too dangerous to be kept alive. I genuinely don't know how he has so much success with such an awful gun. It shouldn't be as successful as it is. And even coming back in on the rotation, taking that extra space, that you've just got to be infuriated, especially like this kill here. Your Durka on the other side. I was told the judge was supposed to be good. Instead, I'm getting wrecked by a Stinger.
Lothar was telling me all about this right-click stuff.
Shut up.
You don't need it. You don't need it. You just run and gun with this weapon. Apparently, Jing's learned the spray pattern, so he's got it locked down.
Disclaimer, this is being done by a trained professional.
Do not try this at home. You will not be as successful. Oh, that's an ambitious nade. That's not going to find anything. PRX, Rolling Thunder, Orbital Strike, quite a bit to work with here. And over on the FNATIC side, they've already... I mean, that nade down, I said it wasn't going to do much. Durka is left on 45 HP. So all things considered, it's been a very successful early skirmish coming out of PRX. What is this man doing? He has just smoked off long, and he's creeping his way right up close. They're about to use an ult to try and get their way in towards the site, but they have no idea that this lunatic is stood up close to the smoke. They're being pushed behind. Mind Freak gets one, and then Jing dealt with, taken down. PRX falling behind, and it's Devi isolated on the site now. He could be in a lot of trouble.
There's not a lot of places they have left to clear. One of them is his position right now. Just waiting below. They've smoked it off. He's managed to hide in their smoke. He's using it against them. It seems like Enzo might be aware of the potential, but instead, he's just bypassed all of them. You're going to see the Rolling Thunder, and Badachi has pushed them away. Enzo now gets the kill, and Devi is still just hunting for him. He's been in this position the whole time, and he's caught instead. What is this round? FNATIC have come out on top, and Forsaken is trying to make his way through, TPing all the way back after making a sound. Trying to reposition away from them here.
Well, they seem to have a very good idea of where he went, Tom. I don't know that the surprise factor is quite in his favor this time, and well, certainly not now. TPing away to save this weapon. FNATIC have got themselves that 3rd. It's guaranteed. It's on the board. The question is Forsaken going to be able to save? And it might not be as sure thing as you'd imagine. I see both Enzo and Boaster making their way towards this A side.
Yeah, the problem is it's how much they want to gamble, really. Like they don't have good finances themselves. These last couple of rounds have been so ridiculously close. I still, the funny thing as well, if you're Fnatic, you have absolutely no idea how close you were to losing that round. Like, you do not know the Divide was sat there the whole time, because in your mind, you've been hit by a load of utility, and you're probably thinking, okay, chances are he just jumped out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas in reality, any timing other than the one that happened, and do you know what's even better? I genuinely believe if Benkai doesn't use Rolling Thunder, they win that round, because no one's going to try and run through that Cosmic Divide.
Yeah. I mean, the only exception would be Enzo with the utility that he put through the Prowler to try and detect them. This timeout is nuts. Yeah, it's needed. I think this one's for us, but we're being told it was PRX's.
I need a technical pause, so that's why it says timeout. But actually, I'm gonna technically need a pause just because of how much I'm currently sweating. But no, it seems like we've come straight back in where we left off on Ascent. It is basically comes down to who makes the better play, and in some cases whether or not PRX can almost overplay it, because again, you see how aggressive PRX are here. Fnatic are not having to adapt to site takes or where they're placing the utility. They're having to adapt to where the hell is Jing, because he was literally just behind them. You also had the push into the smoke from Mind Freak, which again, millisecond difference, he gets like 2 kills there and they win the round. And there's so many minute small details that actually change that for Fnatic getting the victory. And as said, they probably don't even know it.
This time it's going to be Benkai taking a stinger by the looks of things. Oh, and Jing! No, okay. Nope. He's still deciding, still making his mind up, still shopping. It looks like we're sticking with it. Okay, so a stinger and a Spectre to work with here.
Okay, it seems like they might have predicted the push down B.
Did Forsaken think that he was the decoy, or...?
I don't know, but the thing is, in the last round, they managed to get quite far down, so just tried something aggressive. Every once in a while, it's going to make you look silly. And honestly, it was a very slow start for Durka. I don't even know, those might be his first kills. He didn't have any going into the last couple of rounds, but fact is, giving him some freebies is probably not what you want to be doing, but obviously timing this time just not working out for PRX, and a good read from Fnatic.
Yeah, and it puts them in a really tough spot. 3v5, you know, this Fnatic team could be grouping up at any moment, and it almost feels like on the defensive side, you want to be grouped up, gambling, spreading it like this, and trying to play the default. Benkai's going to have to play retake on B side. But by the looks of it, Fnatic are starting to make their way right into the hands of Jing. A Spectre in hand. He only managed to afford light shields this time around. Be caught immediately. Not going to use his ult. Not going to find anything to trade. Only the one, leaving Fnatic with a massive advantage to try and close this out. With 1 versus 4, there's a possibility Benkai even just saves this.
Yeah, he probably should. I don't see how much damage would really be worth this. The only other reason could be to try and balance out the economy a little bit, because I think they're going to be as broke as you can be going into the next round. And unless they really did save that extra cash, but from what I was seeing, it was like choosing between Spectres and whatever they could to make sure they get into this one. But yeah, Fnatic have really slowed down the tempo. I think they've been caught out so many times that they've started really pressuring B long early to make sure that control can't be taken. But then after that point, they're like, okay, someone's going to push us. Let's just wait and see who it is.
Yeah, and it's come through. I mean, they didn't have to wait very long in that round. It's just a straight-up challenge for the extremities, leading with double spray down. Certainly a disappointment for the PRX side, and another round found for Fnatic. They managed to take that lead again. It has been back and forth the entire way. This time around, some major difficulties for PRX, though. They have got ultimates to play with, a couple of them at that, but credits certainly not going their way, and we're starting to see Fnatic build up a pretty deep bankroll.
Yeah, I think that's where things get a little worrying. By the way, those were Durka's first kills. So he has had a very quiet start to this game. Fnatic's still in the lead. That's a very good sign for them, because most of the time Durka doesn't have 2 quiet halves. So going into the defensive side, I'm sure that we'll see the step up from him. Already though, some cheeky plays being attempted. Look how passive Fnatic are currently sitting. They are so ready for these sort of aggressive plays to be made, although Boaster might be in a little bit of trouble. His counter utility has kept him alive. They are trying their best to spam him down, but in fact, he is just waiting for the cavalry And then it comes in the form of Alpha, yeah.
Yeah, great safety net for FNATIC. They realized the possibility on the low buy of those pushes coming through is pretty high. I thought it was interesting that Forsaken left his TP, his gate crash, inside of the teleporter. So he was going to go for aggression, potentially TP back, and still be there to help out his teammates. I wonder if that was supposed to play into a bait setup. The lay of the land was right. FNATIC should be closing this one out nice and easy. Again, same situation as last round, even worse for Bankai, the 1v5 this time. They're about to get that plant on through. Whether he wants to save this or take some damage, you know, if he already had a kill or two from his team, maybe you go out for those duels. But the reality is, with 5 players alive, chances are you're not going to end up walking out of this in a favorable scenario. He's already picked up one at least, but there's that trade we feared.
Does he get the plan? Because that's the thing, the whole reason FNATIC were delaying was to make sure they could get both the orbs and send Enzo into this next round with his Nightfall. So the good micro coming out from FNATIC just to make sure that they get all of the little pieces. But this is where I want to see a change from PRX. I felt like FNATIC have now fallen into a spot where they go, okay, if we just passively wait, this Yoru's not going to have any impact if he just stays passive. Jing is going to want to try and pressure us as well. So let's be patient and make sure that we catch any of that aggression. We can still go for a late round execution if needed. The issue with the composition that's there from PRX is sitting passive on this defense. I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah, it's definitely a comp that seems to feed into proactivity quite a bit. Forsaken in trouble, in a lot of trouble. In fact, he's going to TP right out of there, but they are chasing him down. The decoy out, and it actually tanks a couple of shots for him. Ultimate used as well. Extra info. One player spotted, but mid is he hasn't seen anyone. He hasn't seen any. Oh, okay, there's one at least spotted. He's going to complete the TP. Catching Enzo and flying! Poster through the ultimate, through a smoke. And this round is falling to pieces. FNATIC not able to do anything with Mystic as a 1v4 contested. Spike in front of him. Hey, that's something. But not too much hope in this one.
Tries to take the fight rather than facing off against the Haunt, and well, he's going to end up losing his life. I would love to be in the room where Mini watches that round back and just realizes what the hell just happened, because that was, again, just ludicrousy coming out of the likes of Forsaken. It's such a risky play initially. The pop flash he throws himself ends up catching plays. He does all of this while on low HP. And that's before you even talk about the spam kill that made no sense.
And the coordination on the orbital strike coming down just at that moment. Enzo goes forward, he dies. Goes backwards, he dies. There was no way out. Absolutely perfect from PRX, and it came off the back of sheer panic. FNATIC start the round, take bathroom, put out Showstopper. Forsaken's running for his life. He's trying to get out. He uses his ult, he uses his decoy. And again, Forsaken initiating these duels. FNATIC, though, are deep in their spawn. They understand this is a team that likes to blur those offensive lines. A little bit of trouble for Forsaken, but he's got his TP to get out.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but ultimately it disrupts everything that FNATIC are trying to do. It takes Mystic out, which is a lot of your initiation already dissipated. And just look up, look where he is. It's not like he's... I said fallen back as the loosest of terms.
Yes.
Because he is closer to their spawn than they are. You've also had the lurk attempted by Durka, which has found absolutely nothing. That was just a peek in towards Hookah. And in the meantime, they are just buying time. They're throwing down little bits of utility like, yeah, guys, you know, maybe you want to fall back here. Maybe you want to try and go back in the other direction. Althea, though, with the swing. And now Jing's in quite a bit of trouble.
He got stuck. There's no way out for Jing. Completely trapped underneath the site. He survived, though, at least for a while. I don't know if he's bought enough time, though. They're clearing every angle, seeing nothing. Plant coming through. The timing for Forsaken. It's absolutely perfect. He's in there and catching the both of them. His teleport gate crash was down on the bottom right of the map, as far away as it could physically be. And the man shift walked all the way through their spawn. The patience finally paying off with a Red Bull clutch and a 5th round for PRX.
It's just got to be so irritating to find out right at the end of the round that basically everything else that happened was just delayed. It was an attempt to put this man into position, and guess what? He was there exactly when PRX needed him the most. 5 rounds apiece. A purchase still coming up for both sides. And actually, interestingly, Devi's now going to pull in the operator. Not something I necessarily expected, but I guess with the way that Forsaken's playing, you can't really give him the gun.
Well, a timeout will be pulled into play by FNATIC, Tom, and I don't think we can blame them. They've been caught off by a couple of these PRX rounds for the map that's in it. And of course, the weight that this map carries now is potentially being the final in this series. FNATIC maybe starting to get backed into a corner on this attack side. We'll see them try to figure it out here in the next couple of seconds, but only 2 more to play for here, Tom, and really the half is up for grabs for either team. What I'm worried about, we haven't seen Durka. He's just not been here all half long, and this guy is statistically so far and above. We saw the comparison on the desk earlier, even with Tens' stats, who maybe nowadays isn't quite carrying that North American flag like he used to, but it was ridiculous to see the difference between the two, and then taking into consideration that FNATIC are playing against better opponents.
Yeah, for sure. The game's come a long way since then. Like, it was a giant that was eventually toppled not just by one team, but by everybody improving over time. Durka had a flyer of a start, but that was a very small sample size. And while the sample today, we're yet to see it. Now, with the last map being one where he normally thrives, I'd love to get there, but FNATIC have got to almost prove it to us that they can face off against the might of PRX, and he's just done it again within the first few seconds. And if you think even for a second he's going to back away, you already look to try and find something a little more.
A lot of maps this would be terrible. Losing out on Boaster to start, you lose your smokes, but they have still got Alpha, and Alpha's rocking with a Viper's Pit. Makes it tough for PRX. You got to keep control over this mid area. A bit of a fake going up and inside of Hookah, gets a lot of the utility put out there, and keeps PRX stacked up on this side of the map with 3 players. A's under threat, Mind Freak up close. He's gonna, oh my god, he took his smoke out! Alpha with a free kill, Viper's Pit online, it hasn't gone down just yet, but it feels just moments away. They need to get this plant through, and it doesn't look like they want to use it.
No, but maybe they should have done. They've been hit by Nightfall, they've been dropped by Jing. TP for Alpha here, and Forsaken's just waiting. They are falling for every single trap that's put into place by the side of PRX. No spot on this map is safe, and Enzo's trying to look behind. Durka's actually going to stick this plant. It leaves him completely alone. In fact, he doesn't even get it down. The last man standing, trying to rotate through it. Guess what? Forsaken is there again. 3 players tried to rotate to B. None of them got past this Yoru.
Incredible anchoring from this guy. He sat down aggressively in mid. Certainly not the easiest of positions to hold, and you just have to sit back. With 2 rounds left, Tom, to not use the Viper's Pit there, it just seems like a massive mistake, and you were feeling it almost immediately. The sense of trepidation as I see these players take fights. I'm like, you could be planting right now. And I understand you want to keep it for the next round when maybe, you know, you're starting out fresh. You don't already have that foothold, but instead, that little bit, I don't want to quite call it greed, but that little bit of greed, it ends up costing them massively. And now they face off in the final round with another early pick. Boaster gone again, practically the same position.
And maybe expecting another peak coming out from Jing. Instead, the pace picked up from the remaining players through mid. The problem is, without that bathroom's control, it becomes a much tougher task to get a plant down. Durka will at least try and hold on. Watch out! He just TP'd right behind! Enzo has fallen for the trickery once again, and no one is watching for Forsaken. It's left all onto Durka, and well, he'll take 1 down, but that is all she wrote. 7-5. PRX are half away from their highest ever finish within a Masters tournament.
A monumental victory this would be for PRX, not only to take the series, to continue the win streak, but to defeat EMEA's best, a team that's in the running for the best in the world right now. This has been unbelievable, and I came in expecting to see maybe a couple of things I liked out of this Yoru. We know that Forsaken's impressive, but this half felt truly ridiculous. And Tom, the next half is the attack. That's where we expect to see most of the value brought. Let's see what our analyst desk is expecting from PRX on the attack. 7-5, they're leading coming into this, the attack side of their half, and one that every team fears them on. It's going to have to be a big change from FNATIC, Tom, and I look to Durka. He has to be the hero to come online.
I would agree, but right now I think I'd have to look to Alpha here, because every single member of this squad is just running straight at him. The TP setup, they're waiting for it, and they've been slaughtered within the first few seconds.
Oh wow, APAC has come to play here. This pistol could be a nail in the coffin for FNATIC. Remember, in that first half, We saw them find these 5 rounds. I believe they won the pistol, though, right? They won that 2-0 lead, and then it gets snatched out of their hands. PRX in a very strong spot if they close this out. Durka and Boaster. Oh, good read by Boaster, but the shot doesn't land to start, with Mind Freak extending the advantage into a near impossible to lose situation. That's 8 on the board, Tom. And I mean, I assume FNATIC will take the eco here. That's quite a deficit to play on.
Yeah, no, this is a long, long road that they're going to have to grind back from. Not really expecting much of an investment, but I love that Jing is basically just running through not only his own utility, but also his opponent's utility. And while he's doing that, they're almost baiting them in to that play through the TP.
That was like the most random flash I've ever seen. It looked like it definitely should have blinded him. And I think it might have blinded his opponents. I don't know if anyone will have a lineup for the open door to bounce off the texture, but fair play either way. Good night and sweet dreams to you, Jing. Absolutely pacey take. He's bouncing all over the place, making it look like total wipeouts on my screens. This guy is destroying, farming up towards that showstopper. Another victim close. We might have an ace on our hands.
Yeah, Jing's just decided, all right, I did all right in the first half, but I just want to get back to bed at this point. I want to relax a little bit. I want to chill.
Oh, here we go.
And Boaster is just around the corner. Oh, he's going to ruin it. Ace taken away. And while Boaster, any cost he can cause from here would be nice, but PRX won't oblige.
9 rounds on the board for PRX. A Bulldog brought into this round. They could potentially throw a couple of credits into a rifle for a stronger upgrade. And with the confidence rolling in Jing's favor, I mean, look at that. 2 players in Spalmut knife out. You just can't expect them to be there already.
That's the thing. Jing bought a rifle and then sold it. And I'm like, if I'm Bankai here, I'm just like, do it. Like, honestly, just do it. Like, after what you did in the last round, just straight running. All right. Maybe he's getting a little jealous, you know?
I think this could be very much an idea of getting Jing up close into maybe lamps, getting that aggression off the blast packs on top of the boxes. I don't know what this guy has up his sleeve. The one thing I know, anything is possible when this man starts moving with those packs. He's already towards the back of the site. He's on top, in fact. I don't know that they're aware of this. I mean, that smoke up top, it's certainly going to get your spidey senses tingling, but they don't know exactly where he is. The drop down's perfect. An assassination from Jing. And he'll only find the one, though. Durka at least keeping them alive, and that one keeping the favor theirs. But they have now lost the team, lost the spike, but not lost the advantage. 2 versus 4.
No, and you can see there was an attempt, or at least an idea from Enzo to maybe try and beat them, but at this point, play the numbers. Get yourself into a position where you're not going to lose too many weapons here, and more importantly, you're going to make sure you close this round. The start shot already, and actually the peek out from Bankai. Maybe he should have kept that rifle all along. They've turned it into a close scenario. I think Althea has spotted Devi, but now it leaves the IGL a chance to clutch this out. I don't think he has any idea where his opponent's coming from. Still gets the shot onto Mystic, and well, it may have been a bonus round. It may have been one that FNATIC could have won cleanly. They certainly did not.
55 HP is the only thing that separates FNATIC from almost certainly going out of this series. I mean, the impact that Bankai had, that stun, and Alpha only barely snuck his way into the corner in time. Half a second, a quarter even, and he is gone. But a perfect round from him.
1 enemy remaining.
Netting them that extra chance, that 9-6, but they're going to have to put all of their economy into this round. They lost way too many players in that last one, Tom, and while the replay done was...
I almost don't want to show the purchase.
That's not a nice...
Take that off the screen.
That's not a nice buy.
On this map, though, it could put Flash. Oh, they don't expect Jing to be so far forward.
He's going
straight for him, and he's going to get taken out, but it's a fine trade. Lunatic. I have to say it once again, absolute lunatic, but he has so much success playing at the highest level, almost like it's a pug. And while now, they are stuck at the back of this site. You've also seen the TP in. Forsaken, he's trying to hit the headshot. Eventually, he'll get it done. They still can't clear him from this corner, and he's taking this site for himself.
Time to jump.
I don't know how he is still alive. I will say that right now. TP into the corner. Take this a little bit more aggressive, hold that control. They're up against a Spectre and a Judge. No overextensions needed or asked for from PRX. The fake TP into the corner, but that was a run back from Nurka. Was he faking the save? He's come back now and being spotted anyway, so PRX not giving anything away.
Maybe a little bit optimistic there for Boaster. You've also got the shorty on spot, but no fear from Forsaken. 10-6, money in the gutter. FNATIC's going to have basically nothing going into this round. Like, you could invest into a few SMGs here and there. Maybe Althea can try and play incredibly ballsy and throw down a Viper's Pit, but at the moment they are just being styled on by Jing. I feel like there's certain moments where you watch a man just completely feel out the game, make decisions on the fly, and sometimes if you're good enough, very, very rarely, you can win your team a game. That's what we're seeing right now.
Absolutely. Even that control at the end, the showstopper used to trade out control inside of Hookah, that was pretty much the only crutch that FNATIC had in that round. The only thing keeping them afloat was the fact that they had Hookah control with weak weapons. They were able to take close fights. As soon as that's disrespected and taken out of their hands, they have to try and retake with Judges, Spectres, and they're smoked out. They're facing a mass amount of utility because, remember, there was a very pacey early take inside of Hookah, brought off the back of the early aggression from FNATIC. So, all things considered, I don't think that PRX could have possibly had a better counter to that just straight up mid push. Possibly had a better reaction in the moment, and with Jing sitting 22-12, there is very little that he can do wrong as a player right now. And what's most impressive about it is when we looked at that Fracture game earlier on from Forsaken, he was in positions where he should have died again and again, and he would always open up space. But here for Jing, it seems like he's doing the exact same thing. I count him out in 9 out of 10 of the fights, and he always wins them.
FNATIC, within the EMEA season, since Althea joined, have not lost a series. They sit 3 rounds away from that trend being broken. Althea with the judge, but they're going to know he's here trying to spam. In fact, Jing's already at the site. I don't even know he got there that fast. Mystic has been able to trade, but ultimately the weaponry just isn't there right now for FNATIC. They are playing with scraps. While PRX on the side, ballers when it comes to their purchase.
This is the reason so few teams want to play this map up against PRX. They're an unforgiving entity, 11-6. Now that was a pistol round out of FNATIC, so it's not the end of the world, but you know, Tom, I hope that their buy round's pretty good because they've got one of them. Lose this, and it's pretty much done and dusted. They have got a lot of supporting ultimates to come in, though. Showstopper, Enzo's got his Alpha online as well. PRX with a Rolling Thunder for retake. Maybe a Nightfall as well for the buy later on. This is a round full of minefields for both teams.
Even the Dimensional Drift, it's one of those ults that Forsaken can utilize to find so much information and just cause absolute havoc. And that's basically what he's done throughout the entirety of the map. It's just cause problems for the opposing side. Already setting up to try and make a move in towards this A side, maybe fake things out a little bit. And in fact, well, it's looking like he might try and wrap things around from behind. Already using his Dimensional Drift, just looking to try and run back through. You can see they're chasing him. They're trying to run after him to stop this man getting away with issues as the rest of his team take Hookah control. But look where he is right now, surrounded and shut out. FNATIC adapt well.
Yeah, great stun as well going up into Hookah. This has just stalled PRX completely. Maybe that works out if they can also apply the pressure on the site, but getting locked out like that and Viper's Pit on long, stopping a split, that was unfortunate for Forsaken. They also managed to take down the Boombot, right? When he put through his gate, crashed in, ended up tagging up onto that, so they were very ready for that play. Great reactions and reads from FNATIC. Now what do PRX do? They have that Rolling Thunder, as I mentioned earlier. Try and maybe fight straight into the site, and a couple of seconds that wall's going to go down. I think they're just waiting for it.
30 seconds left.
The question is, where do you place this? In fact, they don't place it at all. Straight into the site, but caught up. Lowered on HP, and FNATIC are holding strong. A couple of players remain. Benkai has been able to find one back. At least making this a little bit more competitive, but solid positioning from Alpha. Teaming up with Mystic and FNATIC. Well, you said they needed this round. They've got it.
That they have 4 between them now, starting to close in the distance a little bit, showing us a stronger face to that defense, and even putting some pressure onto their opponents economically. They're going to have to start dropping over some weapons and seeing just some money struggles start to come through for the first time for some players. A solid hold, and very much countering what PRX were going for, the chaos they wanted to push onto the B site, but there were too many players and too much utility there waiting for them. This time around, it looks like they're going to test the other side of the map. Another very fast push in towards the bathroom. They'll get it for completely free with the Prowler. Fight on the side. Oh, Turkish stun though.
They're actually going to use the Rolling Thunder. 3 players able to back up. Orbital Strike will give them that extra little bit of space, but ultimately it's ult spam that's found very, very little to counter out as Benkai dies, but he does manage to get the spike down. Forsaken's aggressive position has now been spotted, so he has to try and get out of there, and Althea is just watching that TP, not allowing for any more shenanigans.
It's got to be the most ambitious TP we've seen attempted. On the way through here, Divide got his own little shield in the form of the Cosmic Divide, but there's a player inside it with him. And I don't think you're quite going to be able to do anything about that, Mind Freak. Even as that wall fades, way too many players here. It's halved already, and it'll be finished off by Durka with his 4th kill of the round. A solid one for FNATIC, and 8 secured on the back of it.
Yeah, good to see Durka really getting back on the board. 7 kills before this round, which, well, we've seen him get close to that in a round before. So realistically, the fact that he's coming online a little bit at least gives me a bit of hope. I like the ult combination as well. You had the Nightfall to bring the player low. There's no way out of there for Banker, and then they managed to almost just section off every single player. The worry for me is you using that many ultimates over the last couple of rounds. So you used the Viper's Pit to basically grant you 1. Now you've had to use 3 ultimates to grant you another. The bank of PRX is not gone just yet. They still have the finances to invest back into this round, and sure, they use some ults themselves, so I guess that's almost counted each other out. But the main danger is the fact that they only need 2 rounds, Mitch, and with the way that both Jing and Forsaken have been performing, I don't know if I see a world where FNATIC don't at least slip up once.
And Alex, the coach of PRX, calling for this timeout, seeing that things are maybe spiraling a little bit. You know, it's a nice preemptive one. 11-8, 3 rounds between them, and diving into a full buy with some weaknesses. Ultimates used up on their side and not really found any value in the previous round. It's definitely one that has the warning alarm sounding. For FNATIC, they used a lot as well, though. Not having that Viper's Pit, they won't have Enzo or Boaster online, but those Seekers could get them out of some rougher late round positions.
Maybe they could play a little bit more passive and get the information. Maybe they can use it in the retake, but for now, at least, we'll have to wait and see. As said, still an investment for PRX, so the pressure isn't off FNATIC just yet. Again, no surprise, Jing is going to take very early control. Maybe expecting more of a fight, but instead they will be garnering that all.
Yeah, if anything, probably hoping for more of a fight. The Day8 up close, not going to yield too much. Nightfall down to the back of sight. Actually, Enzo is here and able to hear. But making his way back through, he's being spotted. 3 players around this position. They have all that info, but it doesn't scare PRX at all. Going right out onto the site, and I think a truck plant about to come through. FNATIC don't have anything to deny this right now. It looks like it's going to be conceded. Post plant for PRX, and they are deadly in this.
Seekers at least is going to give the information away. One of them does bypass Jing, but they should have a decent idea. In fact, he swings! Just swings straight out. Him and Mind Freak quickly find a couple of kills. Enzo with solid trades, though. Leaves 1 man. It's Benkai trying to fight back versus 2. He still has an aftershock, but whether it will have too much value from this position, I'm not so sure. Needs to try and re-aggress a little bit just to try and deny them that extra space. There goes the aftershock to buy a little bit of extra time. Not many bullets left in the clip, and he's got to try and go for one of these fights. Reload goes through, but Enzo, a solid round out from him. FNATIC will grant themselves a 9th just about, and more importantly, keep that train back in their direction.
Another massive amount of clutch potential there. I'm surprised PRX continued to just barrel forward, but they had the success rooting these players out of the site with their utility. That retake just a little bit too strong, and yeah, it was Enzo carrying the weight of it. Especially here in the end, that little cover, the head peek angle, and it was pinpoint perfect as could be. 11-9. FNATIC stay alive a little bit longer. They hold strong for now. They're up against pistols, up against the Stinger.
You got the Jinger.
Shit, the Jinger. My God.
I love seeing the pain in your eyes from that comment.
Yeah, thank you for that. I was enjoying myself up till now.
Durka though. He's going to take that early fight. These are the jewels we kind of expect from Durka a little bit more. I think he shied away from them in some of the earlier rounds because of how much of a challenge has been coming through. Instead, in this one, at least he's going back for more. And that confidence is what we want to see from the Finn, just decimating anybody that walks into his crosshair. And while the only man left to buy, well, he's going to remove the flawless at least.
Yeah, for what it's worth. In the end, 10 for FNATIC as expected, cleanly dealt with. This is the one that matters. PRX have the credits in back pocket. They have that showstopper online. They're about to have Rolling Thunder, about to have Orbital Strike. They've reset their ultimates, regenerated them back up, and now it's time to put them to work before FNATIC can equalize. And Tom, if they equalize, they put PRX down to an eco, or at least a very, very weak force buy. FNATIC could be on the verge of retaking control of this map. And for it being PRX's home turf, the place that everyone fears to face them on, this attack side certainly hasn't been as strong as I expected thus far.
No, we haven't seen much of that Yoru magic in this second half. Jing has been almost the main fear. On that other side, Forsaken, though, looking to try and take charge of this scenario. Early presence was sent away from this A site, but after pressure being put in towards the bathrooms, you can see that adaptation going elsewhere. Jing also looking to challenge into hookah, but is instantly smoked off.
I really enjoy the early rounds from PRX. I think the way they duel for some of this map control early is super interesting. Like that bathroom fight, they're only doing that to take the information out of FNATIC's hands. But FNATIC are responding to this near perfectly. They're making their way towards the B site with a 4-man stack. And PRX set up to take control. They've got a Rolling Thunder to work with, and it's going to have to find a lot of value. It's covering long. It's catching one player. In she goes, Jing. Catching the frag, but has enough space being bought. These players are still stuck in their corners, still hiding away, and PRX need to root them out. The spike is being planted, and FNATIC can't do anything about it. They're a little bit too far back. The molly completely locked them out, and a post-plant setup now, one away from Orbital Strike on Mindfreak.
Kill here from him. Put this one to bed. A quick push, though. Devi is dropped. A showstopper available, but a target yet to be found. Maybe trying to force him back, but no, Forsaken lands the instant headshot. And now Enzo is needed once again. Not knowing where that second player is going to be, just trying sticking it all the way to half. He's managed to get it that far at least, but still needs to win these duels. And the time is ticking down. They're playing it perfectly. Forsaken will get them to 12. PRX one away from that upper bracket final.
Match point.
A monumental victory for them. Like we said, this would be the best result for either of these teams, but PRX in particular, they have fought long and hard, and I think EMEA, it's got the respect it deserves. It's world renowned. But APAC, well, it hasn't quite, despite the consistency of this team, I don't think it's garnered nearly as much respect as it deserves. And right here, they might just be forcing that respect upon themselves. 2 chances to close it out, and a goodbye. On both sides, really, but the pressure's on for FNATIC.
They managed a streak of 4, needing just a couple more to take this one to OT, to attempt to try and fight it back. Durka is sticking around. He wants this fight. Now, they're not going to really get anything off of the C's. The peak coming through, and he's going to land the shot out of there. And now the pressure comes onto Forsaken. He's found with the flash in hand, almost manages to dance his way out of there, but the advantage is kept. Benkai, though, trying to be a little bit sneaky. He is actually going to get caught out. So they'll have the information of where he's going to be. Might even just try and swing on him here.
Yeah, he tried to dodge it, but that snake bite actually kept him boxed in completely. On his way back around to the A site, giving up the control. Good fight from FNATIC. Great early duels. Durka, brave to stick around inside a bathroom, but the reward is found. We look elsewhere. 3 smokes still online for PRX. Orbital Strike went away as it was just the previous round. They have no control. They're going to be going in blind when they do. Can't afford to telegraph this too much, not with just 3 players left. It's time to blitz out and take that control, and it's Durka waiting up in heaven that scares me. If he's not pushed off this angle, I feel like they lose another on their way through. Oh, good fight.
Moving back, yeah. Turn things into a likely afterplant, although they're trying to bait out the gravity well. This time, bought by Boaster allows for that rotation back through.
10 seconds left.
Blast back might be attempted to try and push them off, but it's not connected. The Seas, however, has and leaves Mindfreak a little bit stuck in the mud. The reveal, not quite going to give him away, but hasn't connected the shots anyway as they look to go past.
Orbital strike online, but Mindfreak can't necessarily get out of here. That's the trouble. The post plant not going to be as strong as it could be, but FNATIC don't know that. Already tapping orbital strike, coming through. Great stun. Durka in trouble. He's lit down to just 1 HP. Mindfreak grabs a frag, and I don't know if he expects him to be close, but it doesn't matter. The shots land, and Divide delivers. PRX are going to the upper final.
It seems like this team just has a date with destiny as they look to take the easy way through. These guys might be just having some fun, is the way they put it, Mitch, but realistically, they are now just 1 game away from making it into the grand final. A world-class team coming out of SEA.
It's now within their reach at long last, and this team, they've put in the time. They've earned our respect. Jing, last event, had some of the craziest highlights that we've seen to date, and right here it looked like he was trying to run it back all over again. A great game from PRX, but FNATIC, they gave it their all, Tom.
Well, that's the thing. We have the conversation of Durka, Yay, like battling out for who is that best player in the world. I think we're going to have to add a few more names to that list, because the way that this duo of Forsaken and, of course, Jing play, I just feel like it's second to none, but also the ideas, the creativity that this roster has, even in those crunch scenarios, to just have something to throw at every single squad they face against. They might be battling hardship outside of the game right now, but when it comes to in the game, I don't know if there's anyone who could beat them.
Yeah, it has to be said, for this team coming in here, they've been thrown a number of curveballs, even meant to have another player on the stage just this morning. Things just keep on pivoting back and forth. The guys didn't have their luggage for so long, like they just cannot catch a break. But right here, it looks like the karma's coming back on the server. It's catching them that way. There's the full team, a huge celebration.
And you gotta leave space, Benkai, remember? You gotta leave some space for the remaining members of the squad.
Where's the spray gun now, Benkai? Well, number 10 and number 69 stepping up to the plate here, and they have had a fantastic series.
There we go.
Yes, yes, beautiful.
Oh.
We'll Photoshop them in afterwards. We've got some great graphics, team. You're not even going to notice.
Truly, a really impressive display all the way through. I think Benkai, the work he does to sort of almost supplement the rest of the members of this team cannot be understated. But realistically, this map was all about those superstars. This map was all about the likes of Jing and Forsaken, and again, I don't know if there's a better duo in the world right now.
I'll still give huge props to Alpha here, though. I have to say, for a kid coming over here, the only Turkish representative, a very young player, and he delivered very well for a game that they lost in. But in the end, they did lose. So it's time to talk about the MVP. Your in-zone MVP, you got a couple of options there. We've got Jing, Forsaken, Mindfreak, and of course, W Gaming. You got to go ahead and find out whether the W key was the winner here or whether it was the players using that key. Tom, anywhere you want to direct fans at home?
I don't know. With map 1, I can't not think about Mindfreak. Yeah. Like, I think Jing probably takes it in the second, but Mindfreak was god tier in that first map, and it came down to the wire. I guess this one did as well, but I think I'd edge it in his direction. But ultimately, I think W key probably maybe supplements all of the options.
Yeah, this was really beautiful to watch, and the best thing about it being that PRX plays such a different style to what we see from the majority of teams, so it's always refreshing. And I think just there in this series, we had so many close rounds, so many clutch rounds. I'm excited to see how this team develops, but it does mean FNATIC hit that lower bracket. You worried about them?
No, I'm not worried for them. I'm worried for whoever else they have to face against. But either way, PRX, they took the mold, they obliterated it, and they make their way into the upper final. There is still another team to join them, but first, a break, and then the analyst test.
I think it's time for the main course. 2 upper bracket matches, 4 of the world's best teams. Valorant Masters Copenhagen starts right now.
Paranoia online anyways, so he doesn't mind about being powerless. What a timing from Mindfreak.
1 enemy remaining.
Nice! Let's go!
1 enemy remaining.
And once again, Mindfreak is going to win it. PRX, they have taken map 1.
1 enemy remaining.
Ah! Add on!
1 enemy remaining.
What? Forsaken is there again.
The upper final within their reach, grand finals within their sights. PRX close to reaching new heights.
1 enemy remaining.
The shots land and Divide delivers. PRX are going to the upper final.
History has been made, excuse me, for PRX as they are making the top 3. But I also think it's safe to say that Bind probably should never be played again if you are going to face off against PRX.
I thought you meant just generally.
That statement, I thought you were just going to end it there.
I
thought this was your new call to action.
I think
Bring back
it.
Split.
I think you just know.
No,
like,
I mean,
against PRX?
against PRX because they have so many different looks at it and they look so good at it and they will force you to play to their own tempo as well. I mean, this is the thing that you're always going to be scared of, I think, when you go up against a team like this.
I mean, you saw it in the Prime Game post-match highlights. It's just the fun that this team is having. Even in these high-pressure matches, they're just chilling out. They're vibing. They're having a good time. And it shows through in their gameplay. The pure confidence, particularly from Jing and Forsaken, was wild.
Yeah, and here are the stats here for our MVP breakdown. Jing, again, was a tyrant out there. But to Mitch and Tom's credit, right, they were talking about Alfier and the performance that he had. And also, by the way, it's not done for FNATIC yet. They still have a lower bracket run, and they're going to terrorize that for sure.
I think FNATIC did have a good grasp in terms of what they wanted to do to shut down this kind of composition. Forsaken was first steps a lot early on in this map, but he ended up turning it around for them. But they definitely had a semblance of an idea of how they wanted to slow down because the Euro is the centerpiece. This entire composition is how the plays are made. Unfortunately, you have to be more than on top of your game. You need to be just on top of the world to stop Forsaken when he's playing like this.
And I think FNATIC was on top of their game in that second half in particular. I think both had a great understanding of what Forsaken was doing.
Absolutely.
There was quite a few rounds where it was maybe a little bit of overheating, a couple rounds where the TPs were getting denied, anti-flash being set up from FNATIC and it not being allowed. But still, despite those issues, despite FNATIC having the right game plan, Forsaken and Jing just kept doing what they were doing. That's what makes them different than any other duelist duo. They run into a brick wall and they just knock it down. They just keep on going. It does not matter to them.
Yeah, if Forsaken had a banger of a matchup, exactly what you want to see. And, you know, look, I mean, everyone from PRX, you know, they all contributed equally to this victory, right? It's not just one player.
Sure.
But you really got to appreciate the way that these set pieces play out for them, Bren.
They have so many different looks.
Yeah, and it's like every single round, and there were times I even said, I was like, it's like exhausting to watch them play. I can't even imagine playing against them.
You can pull from so many different rounds for their own set plays. I mean, how Jing and threads needle there, I'm not too sure. But they're so clean in terms of their execute as well, the positioning and how they want to use their utility to go for these wholesale pushes into the sites.
Yeah, and I mean, we say set play, but I think these are setups that are being called on the fly. It's the flexibility that their star duelists give them in this one, right? You realize there's a heavier presence towards long. Ult there. Have your showstopper ult on through. Yeah, it's excellent. And
I feel like this is a bit of redemption for you, GB. No?
Yeah.
Someone understands.
This is a boomer reference, right?
This is it. We have made it. Sean Gares, we made it, Poppy. We got the Chris Angel reference on the stream. I'm flanked by Zoomers who just do not get me.
All I know is that Mindfreak, he was a magician that game. That person certainly
he looked like
a magician, right?
He was following the magician tropes. He had doves.
Or maybe Mindfreak just really likes being well-dressed and having pigeons.
Yeah.
Doves? Birds?
I mean, doves are pigeons.
This is too much.
Yeah.
Before the break, though, we asked you guys to cast your vote for the in-zone player of the match. Now, remember, guys, it's not a popularity contest. The votes are in, and Jing wins. Jing is not, and I think that's justified. I think it's justified. He was a force to be reckoned with in this series.
Although I think Mindfreak may have been marginally robbed in this one. I feel like his performance in map number 1 is how they were able to close out with a 2-0. Ascent really did come down to some super close situations, and it was that guy's clutches coming through.
I would have loved to have seen like a timeline graph of like the amount of votes coming in for Forsaken over the course of the series, because it must have been just going, I mean, if you could vote for it over the course of the series, because he had so many ups and downs over the course of it, but at the end of the day, you could give it to any of those players. Jing deserves it, though.
Yeah. Now, we did make a call to action earlier for my man Durka.
Did we hit it?
Because I'm trying to get him to 100,000 followers because he deserves it. He was actually fantastic in that series. So here it is right now.
That's a good increase.
This is a great increase.
Wait, what was it before?
I think it was like around 85,000. So this is the drive for Durka to help him get 100,000 followers, Mimi.
I feel like you're trying to like peddle Girl Scout cookies to me. You have like one of those thermometers filled up with like the money raised and just fundraising.
I will buy samosas for everyone if they...
In the world?
Maybe not.
All 86.4 thousand people?
I will buy a box of samosas and give it to one lucky fan who can prove to me that they follow Durka and that they too have followed on the Durka hype train to try and get him 100,000 followers. That's my promise.
Incredibly generous of you.
Okay, because I care that much.
It's going to be a tax write-off in this one. He's writing off his clout that he's given to Dirk.
I'm not saying it's a tax write-off, but it probably, Anyway, for more on the match we just saw, let's actually go ahead and send it over to Yinsu, who's over at our Verizon post-match interview area. She's standing by with Mindfreak.
Thank you very much there, Golden Boy. I think we should get Mindfreak to 100k followers as well. I'm down for that drive. Thank you for joining me, Mindfreak. Welcome to Masters. I know you've wanted to play against FNATIC for a long time. How much did it mean to you to face them today and also to be able to beat them 2-0?
Obviously the team is pretty happy against like the results today, and yeah, we come a long way. Like even before this event, like everyone asking on my stream or whoever stream who you wanted to meet, then we said like I always said personally like I always wanna say FNATIC, because like I feel they are on top of the Kings. I mean like on top of the EMEA right now. Like they are the first place of the EMEA, right? So like personally I wanna test my limit. Is it like am I far away or like I'm a bit there? So yeah, I'm pretty happy actually today.
Well, you've tested your limit because you're not just a little bit there, you're above that right now. So how does that feel?
I mean, I'm feeling great, but it's a competitive anyway. So you win today, but you might lose tomorrow. It's like, so yeah, you gotta keep learning and be humble, I guess.
Of course, today you were only playing next to Benkai on stage. 3 of your teammates were back at the hotel. How has that affected you guys? What was that like? And how has it affected your preparation as well?
Not really personally for me, but it's just funny. Like 2 hours before the match, we found out that Alex and Jing got COVID. So it was like, oh, okay. Then we found out that we only play in the States only 2 people. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I don't know, I just play anyway. So
you guys had a lot of energy given there was just the 2 of you. I could hear you screaming from the room I was sitting in today. So I can see how it didn't affect your personal performance. And when it comes to your personal performance, you've been at international events a few times now, and we've never seen you hit the level and the consistency you have here. What's been different? How have you managed to perform like this?
Honestly, I don't really know. Like, I don't know what's the answer, but when I came to this tournament, I feel like I keep talking to myself, like I just want to be like chill and don't expect anything and just like play, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you've been popping off. Now, Benkai said in the past that he thought if it was any team that was going to leave Bind open for you to pick, it was going to be FNATIC. But were you surprised at all that they actually did leave that open for you today?
Yeah, actually we kind of like prepare Breeze a bit, because like FNATIC always perma-ban Breeze, right? So we thought that they're gonna ban the Bind, but it's not. So we just pick it anyway. So yeah, we're kind of happy that they leave the Bind.
Yeah, I don't think any team is gonna leave that open for you from now on. And lastly, before I let you go, you're in the upper bracket final now. This is the furthest you've ever been. DRX, they're still in the tournament, and it's always that matchup we see. You always play them somehow. Do you think they're gonna beat Optic today? Are they gonna be your next opponent?
I'm not sure, but I really wanna meet Optic, because like I've been met DRX a few times, right? Yeah. So it's kind of boring for me. I just wanna play against Optic, because I never played against Optic before. So yeah.
That will be an incredible matchup. I thank you so much for joining me, Mindfreak, and we'll see you in a few days in front of a live audience.
Yeah. Thank you.
That is all from us here. We're gonna go to a break, but do not go anywhere, because Optic will be taking on DRX right after this.